Welcome, everyone, to the Blue Chip Scouting 2022 live NFL draft stream. I am your host, Dante Collinelli, joined by Tyler Browning, Nick Price, and Devin Jackson. We are going to be taking you through the entire first round of the 2022 NFL draft. How are you boys doing? We are finally here.
I'm just relieved, man. I'm so relieved. Listen, the last 4 months of discourse on Twitter has been an absolute nightmare talking about QBs. I'm like the rest of you guys. I'm ready to finally get to some actual decent QB discussion over the summer with hopefully a better class. But as Dante said, before we were going live, I want chaos tonight. Pure, unadulterated chaos. I want to see stupid picks. And I want to see wild trades. That's all I want.
Anyone else care to add to the chaos?
As long as the Cowboys don't take Tyler Smith, I'm going to be fine. I can be talking Trevor Penning, but if it's Tyler Smith, man, I might peace out from this world a second time.
Oh, my God.
It's a good way to start. Nobody's on the clock yet, and we got people dying. Devin Jackson from New Orleans. How you doing, my man?
I think I'm doing a lot better than these guys. My goodness. But I'm doing well, man. Excited that we're here. Because I didn't even get to be on the draft stream last year, with everything going on with my job. So happy to be on it this year.
Yeah, Devin's going to be with us. He's going to have to hop off depending on what the Saints do with some of their picks. He's covering the Saints for NOLA.com. So he's going to have to handle some of that stuff. But Tyler Browning, Nick Price will be with me the entire night. Devin will be in and out. We're going to break down every pick. We're going to talk about every prospect. We are not going to talk about people's dead relatives. We're not going to talk about, I don't even know, just stuff that doesn't have to do with prospects. We're talking about the NFL draft. It's an NFL draft show. It is 8:02 Eastern. We have gotten the first couple rumblings of who the first pick could be. We're trying to keep it off the spoilers for the three guys. I'm going to try and announce the picks to them and get their live reactions for all of you. So we'll just go around the board. Who do you think's going to go at number one? We talked about this pre-show, but we got to do it for the people. Seems like it's down to two guys, Hutch or Walker. We'll start with Tyler Browning. Who do you got at number one?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Walker. I mean, we talked about the one tweet from an NBA guy that alluded to it, but I mean, Walker, I don't know if he'd be my pick necessarily, but all the smoke seems to be blowing his way. I think Jacksonville ends up going Walker.
Nick Price.
As much as I would like it to be Aiden Hutchinson, I have to agree with Browning that it's probably going to be Javon Walker. Traditionally, Trent Baalke, even when he was in San Francisco, likes to bet on these highly athletic upside guys. And I think, obviously Javon Walker fits that to a T. I think what we all think about him is pretty much immaterial to the overall conversation. I mean, granted, I think on film he's a high second-round player, especially as a run defender. But, we'll see. We'll see. They could end up shocking us. It could be fun. I don't know.
Wait. You have a high second on Trayvon?
Yeah.
Oh, Nick. We're off to a great start. Devin, are you pushing the sweep? Is it Trayvon Walker for all of us at number one?
I think it is Trayvon Walker. I would have loved to see Ike Ekwonu go number one personally, as opposed to Aiden Hutchinson or one of the other edge rushers. But the Jaguars seem content with Cam Robinson, which I don't know if I agree with that, but I do think Trayvon Walker is the pick. It just seems like everything's pointing towards that. And I would be very surprised if it was someone other than him or Hutch. But personally, I would have went Ike Ekwonu.
Yeah, I think all of us probably would not have taken either Hutch or Walker at the top. It seems like let's first talk about the Jaguars then, right? They're not on the clock just yet, or at least I haven't seen them go officially on the clock in case I missed that. The tweet that Browning was referring to was from Shams Kamara, who is an NBA insider. He's the guy who fights with Woj for NBA scoops all the time. He tweeted he's hearing it's Javon Walker and he's waiting for confirmation. But let's talk a little bit about the Jaguars before Walker gets officially announced, or if it is somebody else. Where does this team really need to hit on picks outside of number 1 overall? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of conversation about that, but they have picked 33. They have picked, 66, 65 at that point. This is a team that has some holes. They haven't been very good, but they have Trevor Lawrence. Where else do they need to be looking to get this ship righted under Doug Peterson?
Is all of their picks an acceptable answer? They're pretty fucking bad.
No, they're not great. They're not great. Back-to-back years picking number 1 overall. So not great, but let's get a little bit more specific. Where are they the most bad? Let's start there. We'll start from the bottom. We'll work our way up.
That's fair.
I mean, I think outside of obviously adding another pass rusher, which they plan to do opposite of Josh Allen, I mean, I'm looking at the depth chart now. I don't see a lot there in the secondary. I would like to see them add, another stud corner. I know they drafted Andre Cisco last year at safety, and clearly it's. I think he's gonna eventually get into the starting role, and they have Tyson Campbell as well, who they drafted last year. But I would like another corner in the mix. I know they signed Darius Williams, but I would like to see their secondary definitely be upgraded for 1, and then 2, just add more weapons for Trevor Lawrence. I understand they signed Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones as well, got Laviska Shenault, but they still need bona fide weapons. The tight end room I think could also use some love as well. I know they signed Evan Ingram and also got Dan Arnold, but I would like to see them continue to add weapons for Trevor Lawrence, because you're showing the NFL that you need that. But also add to that secondary and continue to build that. And then thirdly, add more talent to that linebacker room as well.
Yeah, there's a ton of holes all over the place. Obviously, the Jaguars went and spent a ton of money in free agency. We'll see what they end up doing here. It looks like they're about to be officially on the clock, even though they've been on the clock for, God, it feels like forever. We can talk a little bit more generally about this draft. Just kind of, let's get everyone's, just general thoughts on this class. Where does this class sit for you overall? How much pain did you go through watching it this year? Just the good stuff.
Oh, Browning, you're muted. Test.
I don't think this class was necessarily bad. It was a discourse that sucked.
Agreed.
People spend too much time trying to make something out of prospects when they're clearly not that. And it just ballooned itself into something undiscussionable, if that's a word. You couldn't talk about it with people without getting blocked, like making negative comments about your scouting process. The discourse itself sucked, but the class isn't that bad, in my opinion.
No, I tend to agree with Browning on this. I obviously, to me, this class isn't as good as last year, and I think a lot of that is predicated on the drop off in talent at quarterback. Obviously, last year we were gifted with 4 or 5 like really good quarterback prospects, even Mac Jones by comparison, in my opinion.
Oh, no.
That's a whole other discussion. Anyway,
no, don't bring up Mac Jones. It's too early to bring up Mac Jones. Yeah.
Fair enough. But no, yeah, like granted, this class it's still solid overall. We talked, pre-show that edge is pretty good. It's really good, obviously. Corner has some nice depth, and then there's some other places like safety. I'm not personally very sold on the defensive line class. I think like after Travis Jones and like kind of Perrion Winfrey takes a significant dive. But no, I think it's a solid class overall. I think teams, if they pick right, they make smart decisions, they can get some good value out of here, and some potential role players year one, and possibly a lot of upside guys later on down the line. So,
all right. Well, I don't want to cut off Devin here, but the Jaguars are officially on the clock at number 1 overall. So the 2022 NFL Draft is open. My stream is a little bit behind. I'm currently watching Ice Cube give some remarks. I mean, I would,
Ice Cube?
yeah, I'd love to see him run the entire draft over Roger Goodell. Personally, I think that would be hilarious.
That'd be
But
very entertaining.
Jaguars are on the clock. We have a pretty good idea of who's going to go. We talked about which guy it might be, which guy it isn't. And it seemed like we're a little bit down on Javon Walker. So what are some of the reasons that you guys feel like maybe he shouldn't be the first pick, even if he is? What is holding you back? Why do you think he's, you know what, I would have gone a different direction?
You took Trevor Lawrence last year?
That's fair. Okay. So to push back against that, then what player are you taking at one that you think deserves to go there that's really going to help Trevor Lawrence that much? Because look, Ike Ekwonu, Evan Neal, I think they're good prospects. I don't particularly love taking either one of them at number 1 overall, if I'm being honest. I think they're solid. I think they're good, but you taking them at number 1?
I would take Ike. I mean, Evan Neal was in the conversation before like the knee or whatever popped up. Whatever his medical thing was that recently popped up. But yeah, I'd be pretty comfortable taking Ike number 1 personally.
Anyone else? Any other options for number 1?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Like I said at the top of the show, I think Ike Ekwonu is more deserving of the number 1 pick than Trayvon Walker. But I don't necessarily hate the number 1 pick being Trayvon Walker, because I certainly understand why he is in that discussion. The upside, the physical tools, the athleticism, everything that teams look for in a top 5, top 10 pick he has, but he doesn't have the immediate pass rush ability, which I think is holding people back from wanting him to go number 1 overall. But if the Jaguars think they can develop him into who they think he can be in terms of being one of the better pass rushers in the league, then I have no problem. But the problem is with the Jaguars taking him, are they going to truly develop him? Because we saw Trevor Lawrence really kind of, you would like to see progression over the season, and you just didn't see a lot there with what they were doing. And to me, it set him more back than set him forward. So I think that's why people are like, they see the talent with Trayvon Walker, but is it a great fit with the organization? We don't know that now. So that's my only pushback, is that is Jacksonville truly going to develop him into a bona fide stud pass rusher?
Nick, I want to hear your thoughts on the other guy who might go number 1. Obviously, it seems like everyone's leaning Walker. Talk to me about Aiden Hutchinson, the other guy that we've heard hype about at number 1. What do you see in his game? Do you think he should go before Walker?
I think that Hutch is the better fit overall. Hutch is a bit more versatile than Walker. He's played stand-up edge. He can put his hand in the dirt. He's really strong. Like Walker, he's strong against the run, but I think right now, Hutchinson has the better pass rush profile. He's able to string more moves together. He's able to hit offensive tackles with better counters. Granted, he's tested pretty well for someone his size, so there's that going too. I think just that combination of those things, I think Jacksonville will be much safer in betting on Aiden Hutchinson to succeed right away than I would Trayvon Walker, because Trayvon Walker could very well, flame out of the NFL in 2 to 3 years if they don't manage to develop it correctly. And I think in terms of comparison, I think Hutchinson is right now a bit of more of a high floor player, has a higher floor than Hutchinson. I think that would make him a bit safer there. I trust Jacksonville's ability to develop, to bring Hutchinson along better than I could, Walker.
I think one of the issues that people are running into with Jacksonville and trying to figure out where they're at is, who's calling the shots here? Is this Doug Peterson, the new head coach they just brought in, or is this Trent Baalke, someone who has had negative success as an NFL general manager in the teams that he's been with the 49ers and now with the Jaguars, someone who's been able to keep his job? And it seems like the swing has kind of been that, maybe Baalke is the guy who's in control, and he really likes Trayvon Walker. Those are probably the only guys we're going to hear go at number 1 overall. I guess my question then to you guys is, let's say it is a defensive end. We think it's going to be Hutchinson. We think it's going to be Walker. Where's the next need? I know we talked about secondary. We talked about receiver. What do you prioritize at 33? Do you think about coming back into the first round if you're Jacksonville, just trying to get those premium players? What is your strategy going forward if DN is the guy off the board here?
I wouldn't necessarily say you need to trade up for this player. But there could be a couple good interior offensive linemen waiting for you at pick 33. Currently, their starting center is Tyler Shatley. I don't think Shatley. Smart ass.
Shatley.
That's literally his name. I'm not joking. Anyway, I don't think you could succeed with him at center. There's rumors that Tyler Linderbaum could follow the first round. If he's right there, he's right there at 33 for Jacksonville. I'm running that card in as fast as I can. You could also look to upgrade left guard. I know they like Walker Little, so they could transition Cam Robinson to left guard if need be. But I think going forward, with Brandon Linder retiring, and you're not having much depth or quality play at center, I think you need to look center, especially if Linderbaum's there. So,
anyone else? Any other takes? You got a chance to fix the Jaguars here. That's what we're trying to do.
They not getting fixed for 2-3 years, man. They got set back a little bit under Urban Meyer. So
well, we can officially talk about it. I know who the first pick is. With the first pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to select Georgia defensive end Javon Walker. That is per My Sports Update and Ari Miroff. So if he's wrong, yell at him, not me. But the first pick in the draft is Javon Walker, edge out of Georgia. Walker's stock, just flew in the second part of the draft process. Wasn't really somebody who was on a lot of edge boards until the end of the season. Dane Brugler had him as his number 5 overall player before the combine. That kind of awoke in the entire draft community to him. He goes to the combine, absolutely balls out. And this is a player who's going to come in. He's got length. He's a really good run defender. We've talked about at length kind of why we think his pass rush ability might not be where it is. So Javon Walker is off the board at 1.1 to the Jaguars. Your guys' reaction to this? I know we've talked about it at length. We'll flip the script to the number 2 overall pick after this, but what do we think?
This is what we expected. It's been trending this way for about a month and a half now. So are we surprised the Jaguars took the guy that has, probably the highest upside, but right now is not ready to be what they're projecting him to be? I'm not super surprised, but that's who they want. So I can't fault that. And I just thought just everything that's been happening over the last month or so, it just led to this point. So, it's cool to finally we can get that out of the way now. So now the draft really starts at 2 because I think it's going to be interesting what happens from here on out.
Yeah, let's pivot to number 2. I've had enough talking about Javon Walker. We talked about him for 18 minutes. Let's pivot to number 2. Goodell's coming out to announce the Walker pick on my stream. Obviously, we heard about it already. But let's talk about the Detroit Lions on the clock at number 2. Got a lot of places they can go. You know what? Last season wasn't great, but it seems like Dan Campbell, maybe he's the coach for the future. Seems like he got those guys to play for him. They were in a lot of games. They lost a lot of close games. Another team with a ton of holes all over the place. Jared Goff's the quarterback currently. They ain't got no pass rushers neither. They got one wide receiver. What do the Lions do here at number 2? If you're Brad Hand, you're Brad Holmes, you're sitting in the GM's chair, what pick are you making here at number 2? Is it quarterback? Are you taking Hutch? Where are we going?
Someone who bites the most kneecaps.
Well, who bites the most kneecaps, Browning? Who bites the most kneecaps?
You want that Michigan mentality, take Aiden Hutchinson, but I would take Tibbs.
Tibbs at 2. Okay, that brings me to a point. Tibbs is my number 1 edge rusher in this class. That might be consensus for all 4 of us, if I remember correctly. We all have Tibbs as edge 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Well, I actually know who the second pick is. Same source as last time. It is Michigan defensive end Aiden Hutchinson at number 2 overall.
Wow.
The draft
I'm shocked.
Is pretty much what we expected so far. We've talked a little bit about Aiden Hutchinson, but let's talk a little bit more specifically about his fit on the Detroit Lions. Why do we like this? Why don't we like this?
Well, it seems to me that they're going to be running more of a four-man front this year. I think he's a similar body type to what they have in like Romeo Okwara, big, strong physical edge who can, play stout run defense, along with like Levi Onwuzurike and Ali McNeil. Obviously, there's that local connection with University of Michigan, Detroit. So I think that obviously that has something to factor into it. But I mean, and this is kind of the same thing with Walker too. I mean, Hutch is a smart player. He reads keys well. He can identify stuff in the backfield. Can break up the mesh point. I think there are some limitations to his game, namely because if you've ever noticed on film, he's a bit of a snap jumper, which for me that's a little. I'm not a big fan of that too much. But anyway, I think going Hutch at 2, it's a smart pick. It's been pretty much chalk up to this point, with number 2. So I'm glad it's not Malik Willis. That's all I'm going to say.
Devin Jackson, your thoughts on Aiden Hutchinson at number 2 to the Lions?
Hey, it just makes sense. I think with, especially with how people thought that Aiden Hutchinson was the consensus first round or number 1 overall pick for a few months before Trayvon Walker really exploded on the scene. I think the Lions view this as like they got the best player in the draft in their eyes, because it's been a guy that people had as the consensus number 1 player. I mean, he had one of the best seasons we've seen in recent memory from a top edge. And, I understand the arm length concerns and him timing snaps. But to me, I see that as not much of a problem. That's what you have to do at the NFL level. You have to be able to time snap counts because everyone's the same athleticism. There's no there's very few players that are going to be the elite athlete. So I think for him, I'm not really too concerned about him, translating to the NFL game. I just want to see how effective is he going to be on pass rush downs because he relies a lot on the inside pass rush moves. And I think he can add more to his game and be a little bit more versatile, with his pass rush plan.
All right. Well, with Aiden Hutchinson off the board at number 2, that sends us to a team that is always in chaos at number 3. The Houston Texans enter the fray. Another really weird football team from a management perspective. They've got Jack Easterby. They've got an owner. They've got Nick Caserio. They hired Lovie Smith as their head coach after interviewing Josh McCown 45 times. Looks like they're rolling with Davis Mills at quarterback. What do we make of the Houston Texans? What would you guys do for them here at number 3 overall if you were in the GM's chair?
Just get good players.
Yeah.
I mean, take best player available, even if it's a position you already have in abundance. Just do it anyway. I mean, aside from like a handful of players, this seems very bare bones. They just need an influx of talent in any way, that shape, or form they can. We've heard recently this could be Sauce Gardner, which would be really good because they need a fixture at corner. I'd love Kyle Hamilton for them because their safety room, especially after losing Justin Reed. Yeah, that's the right brother, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, granted, also offensive line is definitely in play for them. But no, overall, they just need talent across the board. And I think they could still wait on quarterback. I mean, see what you have in Davis Mills. He played solid last year as a third-round rookie. So I don't think they need to overthink it. Just get good football players. Keep it simple.
Browning, who's the best football player on the board then?
Well, my number 1 player is Kyle Hamilton. My number 2 is Kayvon Thibodeaux. So, I mean, as Nick said, they need to get good football players. It's interesting he brings up he's heard about Sauce. I've heard a lot of traction about Derek Stingley being the pick as of late. I mean, his 2019 film was some of the best I've ever seen. And that doesn't just go away from teams' minds. Like, they're going to keep thinking, can I get him to play again like this? And if there's one person in the room that thinks he can.
All right. Well, speak of the devil, I do know who the 3rd overall pick is. It is LSU cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. to the Houston
There you go, Browning.
Texans at number 3. So Browning calls it right as it comes in. Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU, a player that everybody was down on. He was CB1 for 3 years, and then all of a sudden, everybody got cold feet. Ends up going number 3 overall to the Houston Texans. CB1 for me, top 5 player in this draft for me. Who wants to take this first and talk about Derek Stingley Jr.?
I'll go for it.
Yeah, let's hear from the Louisiana man. What do you got on Derek Stingley Jr.?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I think everyone knows he had one of the best years we've seen from a freshman DB in 2019. And to be honest, I heard a lot of people talking about that, they were kind of down in 2020 and 2021 film. He still ended up as a top 5 player for me. And it was because when he's on the field and healthy, he's still locking down his side of the field. I understand, he missed a few tackles at UCLA and didn't look as sharp as we're accustomed to seeing, but Stingley is right at where we thought he would be in the summer. And it just shows you that NFL teams are still going to bet on that body of work, even though they say, your most recent film is important. I mean, when he played in 2021, he still looked like a top corner. He may not have been as dominant as a Ahmad Gardner, but I think Stingley was always the more fluid, the more twitchy, athletic player compared to Ahmad Gardner.
I completely agree. I think when you consider ball skills, you consider length, I think that's all Derek Stingley. And you know what? Just a higher ceiling than Gardner, at least for me. And I really like Sauce Gardner. So I think we'll see Sauce's name come off the board here, but in the top 10 for sure. But I mean, this is the classic, it goes full circle, isn't it? Right? It started out Derek Stingley was going to be maybe the first player taken in this class. Everyone pushed him. I saw people push him out of the first round at one point because of injury concerns, and he opted out of the combine. Has a really, really good pro day. 2020 film was still good. 2021 film was still good as well. So I guess we can move on to pick number 4. The top 3 have been more or less what we've heard in the past 24-ish hours. We kind of heard about the late rise for Stingley. We're on to number 4. It's the New York Jets. They have a lot of options here. This is a team that needs help at offensive tackle. All of the offensive tackles are still on the board. They have their pick of the litter. They need help at edge. Jermaine Johnson's still on the board. We've heard some steam about him at number 4 overall. Kayvon Thibodeaux, a couple of our guys' number 1 overall players still on the board. Where do you think the Jets go from here with Derek Stingley off the board at number 3?
Oh, I think they have to get edge rusher while they can, man. Because there's a good chance that that both Thibodeaux and Jermaine are gone by pick 10. So I think they might have to go with Thibodeaux here if they want to get edge early. But the Jets really haven't prioritized edge early on since a while. Like I think the last super productive edge they had is when they had John Abraham all those years ago. So I think if they're gonna go if they need edge, do it now. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Derek Stingley. Granted, they made some offseason moves, but I don't feel confident about DJ Reed, stepping in and being a top corner for them. And then again, offensive line, we don't know what's going to happen with Mekhi Becton. I know they really love George Fant too, so this could be an instance where Becton gets moved, or they want to move Becton, and they just bring in Icky or Evan Neal. That's really a wild card.
Devin Jackson, who would you pick here if you were the Jets at number 4?
I think they should go Icky, and I understand that Kayvon Thibodeaux is still on the board. I understand, edge rushers are going to fly off the board pretty quickly, but you can't hope that one of these tackles make it to 10 because there's a good chance if Evan Neal continues to fall a little bit, if a Charles Cross or even Ike Ekwonu continues to fall, somebody's going to trade up for them, and you have the Giants right behind you picking as well, and they also need offensive line help. So I think for them, they should get Ike Ekwonu, especially if he's their top tackle in this draft. You get him now, or you probably won't get him. I understand they got 2 second-round picks and can trade back up and get him, but I wouldn't take that chance.
Browning, who do you like here at number 4?
Yeah, it's got to be Icky or Thibodeaux, in my opinion. I mean, we talked about earlier the edge group is super deep this year. They pick again at, 10? Yeah, you can get Jermaine Johnson. Maybe Thibodeaux slides that far. I mean, you have 2 of the top tackle talents in the class. Go ahead and secure that while you can.
Yeah, definitely smart. I think one of the interesting things that we'll get to see here is how much of that Jermaine Johnson smoke that we heard during the week is real. Johnson's a player that we have heard connected to the Jets quite a bit, and they're going pretty deep into the clock here, at least deeper than the last couple of teams. So I don't know. It might be a weird pick here coming from the Jets, but they do need to protect Zach Wilson. I agree with you guys. I would go. I mean, I'd probably draft Evan Neal here. I think I'm a little bit higher on him than Icky, but I think either pick there makes a lot of sense. If you guys do draft a tackle, what do you do with Mekhi Becton? Let's talk about that.
That's why I said Icky, because if Mekhi comes back healthy, Icky has the background to play guard. He's played guard already. So I think that's what makes me lean towards it. And I know Evan Neal has too. I know both those guys have played guard. But to me, I think Icky would just be a dream pick for the Jets, thinking about Mekhi Becton, George Fant. You also got Elijah Vera-Tucker from last year as well. You add Ike Ekwonu to that list. I just kind of think of that as well. So you can't go wrong with either Neal or Icky. And I think that's why they should come off the board here in the next few picks, is because they both have guard and tackle tape that was really, really good. So I think you can't go wrong with either guy here.
Okay, I did see the pick.
So did I.
It is incredibly surprising. The New York Jets at number 4 overall have selected Cincinnati cornerback Ahmad Gardner at number 4. So the Jets shock the world a little bit and go with corner. Nick Price, you are our American Athletic Scout for the BCS scouting department this year. Talk to me about Ahmad Gardner.
All right, first thing out of the way. Sauce, we know from the combine, extremely good athleticism. He's a tall, long corner, can really genuinely impress. Good feet, can mark stride for stride with receivers. He's probably one of the smarter players in this class, in my opinion. And I just, like I said before, I didn't trust DJ Reed was going to get him over the hump at corner, and apparently neither did the Jets themselves. So gets a room with Sauce Gardner, Bryce Hall, and DJ Reed. I think you can compete with that. Sauce was my top corner. He barely beat out Derek Stingley just by a little bit on our grading scale. I ultimately think he has probably one of the highest floors in the class, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a really good player for a really long time, and he was a blast to scout.
Anyone else have thoughts on Sauce Gardner? I think probably the first surprise pick here. I don't think any of us pegged Gardner at 4. What are we thinking here about Gardner to the Jets?
I mean, I don't hate it. I really love the player. Not necessarily where I've gone team building wise, but he's a really good player. He's physical impressed man, has vines for arms, stays in the hip pocket well. He's physical during the stem. He can match up with tight ends because of his arm length. He has a changeability direction to match up with running backs. I mean, he's a really good prospect. Really fun study, like Nick said. I don't hate the pick at all. The player, don't love it from a team building standpoint, but again, you're a team that's picking low in the draft. Odds are you have a lot of needs. So I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't either. I get it. I'm just really, really surprised to see them pass on offensive tackle. They do have the 10th pick. Maybe they're thinking one of them's going to fall. We thought the tackles would come off the board pretty quickly, but it's Sauce Gardner here at number 4 to the Jets, and those tackles are still on the board, so maybe the Jets are banking on one of them falling to 10. I guess we can flip the script to the next New York team. Is the New York Giants on the clock at number 5?
And listen, if I'm the New York Giants who really need offensive line help, I'm licking my chops right now because you have all the guys on the board just for your taking. I know that, Wink Martindale is probably in the market for a corner because we've been kind of hearing all offseason, like, hey, are they going to, deal James Bradbury? I think if you're Wink Martindale, you're probably a little bit disappointed, but I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of these tackles. I think you get an offensive line with, Andrew Thomas at one end or a combination of Icky or Evan Neal or Charles Cross at the other end. I think that's perfect. Perfect. I mean, granted, they declined Daniel Jones' fifth-year option, so it's not like he's going to stick around for very long. But I mean,
Kenny.
What?
Take Kenny.
Ew.
Well, let's talk about it. Should the Giants consider quarterback here? Now, I am not a fan of this quarterback class at all, but you decline the option on Daniel Jones. He hasn't been very good. I know he doesn't have a lot of help around him, and they said that they've committed to putting some stuff around him, but do you consider it here if you're the Giants? Me personally, probably not. I'd rather go with a premium player, but should they think about it?
That was a joke. I'm a Cowboys fan. They should absolutely not consider QB. I just want to see the pain and suffering it would cause their fans. So from that standpoint, sure, take them.
I mean, would they realistically go Malik Willis here? I mean, because given his what potential he does have as a prospect, I mean, I would never do that in my wildest dreams. I'd at least, if you're not going to like re-sign Daniel Jones, I'd at least wait like another year. Like wait till the class gets better. Yeah, there's I just don't think. I mean, I don't think I don't think they go QB here. I don't think should be in like the realm of possibility.
I don't know. I mean, all right, so we'll pivot away from quarterback. We don't think they go there. You guys think it's offensive line again. We just keep talking about these guys that keep getting pushed down the board. Devin, I know you've talked about Icky. Is this maybe a team that goes with an Evan Neal because he has that right tackle experience? You can keep Andrew Thomas at left tackle, had kind of a bounce back, back half of the season last year. What do you do here if you're the Giants?
Yeah, I think I'm still surprised by the Jets pick because, I understand they probably just think they couldn't get a Gardner, or maybe they thought Stingley was still going to fall. So I think maybe they panicked a little bit. But the Giants here, I think you probably go Neal. I think it'd probably be a better fit, especially if he's going on the right side. So I think Neal should be the pick here. But we've already seen the last two picks. Just because you have a need at offensive line, teams aren't necessarily going for it.
Yeah, it really seems like these guys are getting pushed down the board. Giants going deep into the clock again. They're under 4 minutes. Pick is not in, at least according to my stream. So they have a lot of options to consider. I mean, another wild card here too is edge. This is a team, not a lot of pass rush help. I mean, do they just sit there and go, you know what? We really like Kayvon Thibodeaux. We're going to take him. Is that a possibility as well here?
I think so.
I think it shouldn't be off the table.
I agree. I mean, I think him and Azeez Ojulari would be like a really, really good pairing coming off the edge. I don't know. I mean, he'd be BPA for me. I got to think they sprint the Evan Neal card in. I think that's going to be my prediction, but I'm probably wrong at this point. I'm going to go 0 for 32 on my final mock draft at this rate. So, I'm just going to sit back and let you guys take it. The Giants pick is in. I do not have it though. But the pick is in according to my stream, which means, these NFL insiders are slacking. They're letting us down,
Man.
Sauce Gardner at 4. Still thinking about that. This is good. I hope we're in for some more surprises. I really do.
I think we are.
Browning, I'd like to report that the Ravens fans are currently fuming at the possibility of Baltimore drafting Trevor Penning.
Oh, hey. I know the pick.
What?
With the 5th pick in the draft, the New York Giants select Oregon edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeaux as the run on defense continues. This is pretty much everyone in here's edge 1 from this class, going at number 5 overall to the New York Giants. Who wants to talk about Kayvon Thibodeaux?
Let me talk about him because his demise was greatly exaggerated in terms of him falling out of the top 5. Look, it's just funny that once again we're coming full circle on prospects. Once again, that people said Kayvon Thibodeaux might be available at 8, at 9, at 10. Once again, teams value high level traits, and I think we're continuing to see this with every single pick. I mean, if you're an athletic freak, you're probably coming off the board in the top 5. So I'm very happy that the Giants made this selection. I love the fit, and I think he's ready made for a New York team. His personality fits exactly what the New York market craves. So expect him to be the focal point of the Giants next season or this upcoming season, and looking forward to him, playing. Because we can finally stop the discourse about is he going to be in the top 5 or not.
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember seeing him down in like the mid-teens at one point because I don't know, people for some reason, we're going to get a little bit off topic here because every year there's an Oregon prospect that gets crapped on for character for no reason. This is 3 years in a row now. It was Herbert 3 years ago. He still went pretty high, and he's not bad. Penny Sewell still went in the top 10 to the Detroit Lions, had a good rookie year. Now we see Kayvon Thibodeaux go at 5, and all we heard about those guys was character. Here they are, still going in the top 10. The Giants take Kayvon Thibodeaux, BCS Edge 1. I'm just going to claim him. I don't really care what everyone else's board was. They're not here, so they'll get over it. Kayvon Thibodeaux, Edge 1 off the board. That is Joe Shane's first pick as the Giants GM. So now we pivot to 6. The Carolina Panthers, near and dear to our good friend Jared Feinberg, who's been blowing up the chat. He's hanging out with us tonight. What do the Panthers do at 6? This is another spot where we have to talk about quarterback. Kenny Pickett has been the meme that we've all been pushing for months. We've been pushing the Matt Rule Temple connections. Shout out Owls. I had to work them into the broadcast somehow.
Temple.
Yes, Temple. But do the Panthers go quarterback here? I would argue maybe that, I don't know, Matt Rule might need a quarterback to save his job, frankly, but every offensive lineman still on the board. Yeah. We've had 5 straight defenders come off the board, all at premium positions, so that's something. What do the Panthers do at 6 here, guys?
It's a wild card. We didn't think all the offensive tackles were going to be here. We pegged pre-draft as going to be Kenny Pickett or Charles Cross. We didn't know Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu was going to be there, so I think it's tackle or QB.
I'll tell you what, I feel sorry to interrupt you, Browning, but I feel like there's going to be a trade coming at 6 or 7 because Evan Neal and Ikem Ekwonu both be on the board here. I feel like we're getting a trade in probably the next 5 to 10 minutes because teams, them falling out of the top 5 it's not unfathomable, but it's certainly a little surprising.
What do you know, Devin?
I don't know anything.
Who's your sauce?
I'm just telling you, this is a perfect spot for a team that wants to tackle. I did a mock yesterday with Mike. The Chargers traded up to get Evan Neal at 7. So Ikem Ekwonu or Neal are going to be there at 7. So someone's going to trade up and get it. I can guarantee that.
All right, well, let's talk about tackle then for a second here. Are we going with Icky or are we going with Evan Neal?
Depends on
for Carolina or
for Carolina at 6. Let's assume we'll talk about trade. If trade happens, they'll reset the clock and we'll get the pick. But assuming that's Carolina on the board, who are they taking to tackle?
Do we know everything on Evan Neal's knee?
We don't. We know that his trainer says that his knee is fine, and there are multiple sources that have claimed maybe he needed a recheck.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's switch to quarterback then. Let's talk about it. We got to talk about it. These guys are going to get drafted at some point. This is where it starts. If it wasn't going to start with Detroit at 2, which frankly I never believed. What quarterback comes off the board here at 6 if they go quarterback?
Man, I know conventional wisdom would say Kenny Pickett because of the floor. But I feel like if Actually, I take it back. Everything I was about to say. It has to be Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett is the most ready to play out of all the quarterbacks here. As much as that,
oh god,
as much as that pains me to say that, I get physically ill having to say that. But I feel like if Matt Rule is to save his job, I think he'd almost have to take Pickett if he were to go quarterback. But I hate it. I hate it with a burning passion. I would never in a million years draft one of these quarterbacks in the top 10. I can't. Devin's cringing. Devin is
they're showing the quarterbacks in the green room right now. They're making Jared sweat. I'm assuming at home. What do we think about Malik Willis at 6? I know none of us are overly high on this quarterback class, and I get that. Devin, you're giving me the shut up. I mean, what are we doing here with quarterback?
No, please listen. I want Malik Willis to succeed. All right, I want him to see past his first contract, and the Panthers just do not have the tools and resources in place to take him here at 6. And of course, the pick is going to come out and watch they pick a quarterback, but no, they do not need to be anywhere near a quarterback at this point. They need to continue to build. You know what? Look, if Matt Rule loses a job, he loses it. But you cannot put your job on the line by selecting a quarterback here because it's not going to work out in your favor.
Yeah, I agree. Panthers going really deep into the clock. They're about to dip under 2 minutes without their pick coming in. So maybe
Could be a trade.
I do know the pick at number 6, as I said something about it, and it is a tackle off the board. It is Ike Ekwonu out of NC State. The 6th
finally goes
overall pick. Devin, you've been talking about him a little bit. Talk to me about what you like about Ike Ekwonu and where you think he fits in for these Panthers.
Well, I think he's the best run blocker in this class in terms of just physical strength and just able to clear holes. So for one thing, the Panthers are getting a immediate upgrade at tackle, at guard, wherever they decide to play him, but clearly it's going to be tackle. But they're getting an immediate upgrade in him and be able to run the football behind him on the left side. I know it's something they've been wanting to push, under Matt Rule, is establishing the run, which goes against everybody, what everyone thinks these days with, running backs don't matter. But I think he brings that physical presence. He is a very Matt Rule type of player. He wants a guy that's tough, high character, and I think this is a great fit. And, kudos to Carolina Panthers. They didn't do the fatal flaw we thought they might do.
Yeah, they pass on quarterback here. I'm assuming I can't get anyone to play devil's advocate and say that's a mistake. So I'm just going to move on. We are pivoting to the New York Giants at 7, who could end up with Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal at 5 and 7 if they want it. They could also take Charles Cross here. 2 of those 3 top tackles still on the board. Where do we think the Giants go here? I mean, they're in a really, really good spot to get their 2 biggest needs right off.
I wouldn't rule out Kyle Hamilton because here's my thinking. Okay. Julian Love is not the kind of safety that Wake Martindale covets. Granted, I think that he much rather have Love play corner. Martindale loves someone who can play the deep half of the field and play it well. And I think that, Kyle Hamilton definitely has the athleticism, the range, and the instincts to do that very well. I also think he's a versatile chess piece and be just another big piece from that defense along with Kayvon Thibodeaux. I wouldn't rule it out. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's probably going to be tackle. It's probably going to be tackle, if we're being honest. But I wouldn't rule it out.
Let's talk about it, right? Let's say the Giants are sitting in that war room right now. Kyle Hamilton's at the top of the board. Maybe it's because they really like him. Maybe it's, fit, whatever it is. Do you think they can justify passing on a tackle for a safety in Kyle Hamilton?
When you put it like that, no. That's what I said.
All right, well, now you're walking back your own point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't say we rule it out. I wouldn't say I'm advocating for it. I'm saying I wouldn't rule it out. I get it because the tackle class does drop off in round 2.
With the division they're in, you could argue yes.
True.
The Cowboys lost Randy Gregory. They only have DeMarcus Lawrence. the Eagles' best edge rusher is. I honestly don't know. Right,
probably
Josh Sweat.
the Giants just took Javon Thibodeaux. I mean, and then who's the other team? The Redskins or Commanders, excuse me. They have the best duo in the division. I mean, you can say you want tackle to protect your QB of the future from them, but they're really the only worrisome threat out of defensive line in the NFC East.
Devin, anything to add to that? It seems like you agree with Browning's take there.
Yeah, to me, I think because I know there's a significant drop off from the top three tackles, but realistically, I mean, it's a tough one because Kyle Hamilton can come in and change your defense right away. But with getting a tackle, are they really sold on Daniel Jones? I mean, they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So to me, keep building your defense and maybe figure out the quarterback situation, offensive line situation a little bit later. Plus, they do have some day 2 and day 3 picks. If they want to move back up into the first round, they certainly can. So I think, it's going to be interesting. I think it's an interesting case study. We'll see what happens. But I think you can't go wrong here with either Neal or Hamilton because they're not going to be – I don't think they're going to be a team that's going to be ready to compete for the NFC East next year. So we'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick. Go.
I'm so glad Browning and Devin here because I think they explain my point about way better than I can.
I think you did a pretty good job. Look, you brought up an interesting point, right? Because the Giants are in a spot where, like, you know what? Maybe we're just going to take the best player. We're not going to win this year. We're going to build up a really, really good defense under Wink Martindale. We're going to have two, stalwart blue chip pieces in Kayvon Thibodeaux and Kyle Hamilton to run that defense. They have that opportunity. Me personally, I'd take a tackle. I'd run the Evan Neal card to the table and wouldn't look back. He can play right tackle. He can play left tackle. He has some experience at guard too. I just really feel like you can't lose there. I don't know about his knee. If there's something wrong with the knee that I don't know about, and that's why Evan Neal ends up falling, okay, I get it. But from a film perspective, I would be pretty surprised to see that. Akeem Ekwonu just got his Panthers jersey. The Giants are approaching 4 minutes on the clock. No word on that pick being in or a trade. Are you guys surprised we trade? None. Not even rumblings of a trade.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, shout out to Jared. We don't have to see him complain in the chat all night. Happy for him.
Although it did take him like 7 minutes after we
took the pick. He was silent. I was worried. But go ahead, Devin.
I was just going to say, I don't know, man. I'm very surprised we haven't heard any trade. I mean, maybe that's why they're going a little bit deeper into the clock. Maybe the Panthers also did the same thing. That's why they went deeper into the clock. Maybe they were entertaining trade offers and just didn't like what the value brought or who called. So we'll see. I mean, the Giants may take their time here too and waste it down. Maybe they'll just take Evan Neal.
Giant pick is in. It appears. I do not know who it is, but it is in. Oh, no, that is not it. But the pick is in according to ESPN. We'll see where they decide to go. We expect it to be a tackle, and it is a tackle. The New York Giants select Alabama offensive tackle Evan Neal coming in from Alabama. So the Giants end up with Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal. And I don't know about you guys, but that is my number 2 and number 3 overall player that they draft at 5 and 7 without having to trade at all. Who wants to talk about Evan Neal on the New York Giants?
I'll talk about him real quick just because his improvement from last year to this year was absolutely outstanding. Like in 2020, I did not see the player everyone was hyping up. Like, he was a physical specimen, physical freak, sure, but that dude spent so much time on the ground, it was ridiculous. He was falling over rushers on the ground, getting knocked off balance. But, man, he came to 2021 completely different. He was on his feet constantly. He still has a couple lapses of leaning forward, specifically on RPOs. But in every asset of his game, he was massively improved. He is player 1, 2, 3, 4 on my board. And, yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal get for the Giants.
I agree, man. I think this is really this is going to be a tough haul to beat for me when we talk about favorite hauls at the end of the night. Getting these two players at 5 and 7, especially. I guess we can move on to pick 8. We'll flip the script to the Atlanta Falcons, where I regret to inform you we still need to talk about a quarterback coming off the board here. Maybe I know they brought in Marcus Mariota. I don't know how to tell Falcons fans this. He's not good, so he's not going to be the future of the team. Is Malik Willis in play? Is Kenny Pickett in play? Or we're going right to Kyle Hamilton? Maybe we start talking about receivers here at pick 8. Where do you guys want to go here with the Falcons?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Falcons fans are a little depressed right now because they thought Kayvon Thibodeaux was going to possibly fall to them. And he goes off the board at 5. Maybe one of the tackles falls to them. No. I think they go receiver here personally. I don't think they go quarterback. Just because it just does not seem like they're in position to develop a quarterback right now. I think they're in a transition period still. And, maybe they do go quarterback and go Willis. But I think if they're thinking, let's continue to build a team around us before we secure a quarterback, I think they go Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams here.
All right, so let's talk about wide receiver. This is the first pick where we've really felt like that they were legitimately in play. Tyler Browning, who's your wide receiver 1, and do you think he'll go off the board here?
My wide receiver is Garrett Wilson. I'm going to play the odds and say no. A receiver does not come off the board.
All right, well, who do you like instead then? I'm forcing you to pick. This is a no coward stream. You got to come up with something.
All right, I got 2 dark horses. First one is Charles Cross. We talked about him at 6 with Carolina and again with New York before Evan Neal is available. My second one, I wouldn't personally love it. I'm a bit lower on him than most. Still a good player, but what about Jermaine Johnson?
Oh, that break my heart.
It would be interesting. That we heard Johnson possible hype at number 4. This would still be in the top 10 with Jermaine Johnson. Falcons, when's the last time they had like a legitimately good pass rusher? I feel like they've been trying to plug that hole. They took
John Abraham.
Yeah, right. Like they took Beasley in the first round. They took Tack McKinley in the first round. I feel like they've been trying to plug that hole for years. Do they take another swing at the bat here with Jermaine Johnson?
I certainly think it's in the cards for them, but I mean, they also have like 2 second-round picks, like within close to or 2. I have a handful of day 2 picks. I can't remember off the top of my head that they could probably get like someone like an Ebiketie or someone of that type. But I mean, I think like if you're dead set on getting an edge rusher, you have to go Jermaine here.
Sorry, I was laughing at Evan Neal because he slapped the hell out of Roger Goodell.
I thought he broke his ribs. I looked at Goodell and I was like, that man is gonna have to go to a hospital.
Bro, it looks like he's crying out of the corner of his eye.
Man,
oh my god.
Really? I mean, I don't blame him, man. Evan Neal is the most unassuming 360-pound man I've ever seen in my life. He looks like a cool 310. I mean, good Lord. That is a big man hugging Roger Goodell. I don't feel bad for him. That's all I'll say on stream.
That's why it's funny because I don't think anyone feels bad for him personally.
Goodell's just such a meme. Like when he like tries to get the crowd hyped, it's like he's just like what a human's supposed to sound like when they're trying to get people hyped. Like there's just like I don't feel there's any emotion, but it's just kind of like, all right, draft fans.
That was an interesting Goodell impression. We just lost a viewer after you did that impression. I want you to know that. Anyway, I'm kidding. We stood at the same number, but Falcons on the clock. They're going under 4 minutes. The pick is not in. We talked a little bit about wide receiver. Browning had Garrett Wilson as wide receiver 1. Does anyone in here have somebody else at wide receiver 1? Or are we Garrett Wilson across the board?
Yeah, but I do have Treylon Burks as a receiver too, and he wasn't too far behind Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson's my receiver one as well.
All right, well, let's Falcons pick is in, so I'm assuming I'll get a Twitter notification about the next 20 seconds. There it is. Oh, it is a wide receiver, but it is not the one that we talked about. It is USC wide receiver Drake London, the number 8 overall pick to the Atlanta Falcons. So a little bit of a surprise. He's going to go with Marcus Mariota and Kyle Pitts in that Falcons.
Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, look. What do you do? So Drake London off the board at number 8 overall, the first wide receiver taken in this draft. Who wants to talk about the Pac-12 standouts? Nobody wants to talk about the Pac-12 standout. You gotta have something to say about Drake London.
All I know is that the Jets are probably disappointed because I think that was their guy. Everything we've ever heard of this offseason, that was like.
But it's a good thing for the Jets, although I guess they're staying put at tackle. It seems like because I don't see them taking Cross at 10 or even Penning. So I think they might be picking receiver at 10. But Drake London, getting back to the equation, I think he's probably – I feel like he's one of the more divisive prospects because people see him mostly as a contested catch guy. I do think he's a bit more nuanced than that, has the ability, can work inside out, and I think he'd be a good fit for Atlanta because he doesn't necessarily have to be the number one receiver because they have a unicorn in Kyle Pitts. And honestly, I would love to see a bunch set and you try to figure out how to guard Kyle Pitts and Drake London coming across the field because that's going to be very creative and allow Arthur Smith to do a lot of creative things with both of those guys because you can move them outside, inside. You can line up Drake London as a big wing back or outside receiver, and then obviously Kyle Pitts in line. So I like the fit. I don't know if they shouldn't necessarily went the receiver route because I think they do have some other more pressing needs, but they certainly needed a receiver pretty badly. And Drake London, I wouldn't have expected him to be the first one off the board, but it's a little surprising, but I like him as a player.
I like to report our boy Hunter Thompson is seething right now.
I'm going to be honest. This is probably the first pick where I like London. I had a first round grade on Drake London, so I don't want to make it seem like I dislike this football player, but I don't get it. This reminds me of when I'm going to make a really obscure basketball reference, but this reminds me of when the Sixers drafted Jahlil Okafor directly after drafting Nerlens Noel. You just drafted Kyle Pitts, and now you're drafting someone who's kind of similar to Kyle Pitts. And I respect the commitment of the bit. They really just said tall guy or go home. And I get that. And London's really good and he's got a lot of skills. And, I think he'll be really nice for them in general. But man, I just think you had 3 better receivers on the board there, at least in my opinion. But we can pivot to number 9.
I got something real quick.
Shoot.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit of a reach based on my board. Drake London did not get a first round grade for me. He got a high 2. But my comp from him, and I suck at comps, I hate him, but he reminded me a lot of Des Bryant. And if he can reach that ceiling, that's definitely worth the 8th pick, Browning. That's interesting. And that's saying a lot with a comp coming from you because you never give comps. So yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the Seahawks at number 9, a team famous for drafting random ass people high in the first round. This is, we've kind of hypothesized maybe Trevor Penning, offensive tackle here. I'm going to bring up quarterbacks again. These guys have to go at some point. Or do we really feel confident that they're going to stick with Drew Lock for another year? I don't know if I am. I don't know. Is Breece Hall the pick at 9? Do they repeat the Rashad Penny?
Please.
The most Seattle pick here will be Desmond Ridder at 9 overall.
Oh, please.
That is my bold pick that the Seattle might make.
No, Devin, I could do you one better, Raymond.
Honestly, I don't think that would have been as bad as getting a Desmond Ridder, in my opinion, at 9.
Oh man, that's a take, man. That's good. I like it. We're finally getting to the good stuff now. We're getting to the good stuff. We've been way too political. Oh,
there we have
man.
it.
The Seahawks
Oh,
is bringing
God.
out the best of us. Okay, so we've talked about all right, we think the Seahawks are going to make a stupid ass pick. We get that. Sure, great. What's a good pick here? What's a pick that the Seahawks make and you're like, yeah, there we go.
Charles
Cross.
Yep, Charles Cross.
Okay, across
Listen,
the board. It's Charles Cross or bust.
I think if they draft Cross, it'll be the funniest thing to me. No, because they've had Russell Wilson was the quarterback for the longest time, and they failed to properly protect him. Sure, Dwayne Brown was fine as an aging talent, but they failed with Cedric Ogbuehi. I mean, their current starting tackles are Stone Forsythe and Jake Curran, and I don't think you can What's up?
I think another good pick would be Jermaine Johnson here.
True.
At 9.
True.
They do need some edge help, and now you're just going BPA because I think a lot of the guys they may have considered here at 9 are off the board. And why not go ahead and upgrade your defensive ends? Because right now they got Shelby Harris and LJ Collier. I don't
LJ
see
Collier,
that as
by the way, another random ass player that they took in the first round. Just throwing it out there,
I think they think they need some edge help. You probably want to get one sooner than later because they might be gone by the time the next time you pick.
I'll throw a dark horse in at that edge position because it's a guy that we've heard some first round buzz about recently. Is this where the other USC Drake comes off the board? Drake Jackson. He's that toolsy, long bend edge rusher. Sounds a lot like a random Seahawks player that would go in the top 10 to me. Do we think that's a possibility at all? There's been a lot of smoke around him possibly going top 10.
Ooh, that would be.
You guys are baffled, speechless.
That would be
I
a
would
significant reach for me.
I just cannot fathom that. I mean, I can at the same time, but
you do not have to fathom it, and the Seahawks are making the right pick. Charles Cross, Mississippi State offensive tackle off the board at number 9 overall. So the tackles with a little bit of a slide, all three of them, the top 3 guys end up coming off the board in the top 10. Who wants to talk about Charles Cross? Devin, go ahead.
Sure. I think he's one of the best natural pass protectors in this class in terms of being able to move laterally and match and mirror what defensive ends are able to do. Functional strength was a big thing for me that needs to improve. He just played way too light, I think, and he's going to have to add some mass to his body and be a more consistent run blocker. But he was the third or my third ranked tackle, but it wasn't by much because I think his upside is right up there with Ike Ekwonu and Evan Neal. So I like that the Seahawks, that all these teams in the top 10 have made pretty sensible picks thus far. Drake London is maybe a bit of a reach, but nothing too crazy here in the top 10. And looks like we're not going to get a quarterback in the top 10. So that's probably a good thing that the NFL, didn't overdraft quarterbacks this year.
I don't know. I was told that, if I just watched enough tape, this quarterback class would magically be good. And, I got to be honest, I wrote 8 articles, 16 scouting reports. I watched a lot of tape, and I hate to tell you this, they're still bad. And clearly the NFL agrees.
QBs.
What?
You wrote up 16 QBs.
Don't ask me questions like that. Moving on to pick number 10. The New York Jets are back on the clock after making the first surprise pick of the night with Sauce Gardner at number 4. I don't know if the Jets were expecting a tackle to fall to them at 10. None of the top 3 did. I don't know if they were banking on Seattle being incompetent or what. Those guys are off the board. Where do we think the Jets go at pick 10? Is this just receiver central?
I think we're about to get a run on receivers now.
Yeah.
Or maybe they shock the world and get another high safety or not another high value safety here. They took Jamal Adams, was that 2017? Maybe they repeat history and take Kyle Hamilton here. That would be the only pick I could see outside of receiver here, though.
We brought it
or
up.
Maybe Jermaine Johnson too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the receivers. Drake London off the board. Obviously, we all have Garrett Wilson as wide receiver 1. Do we think that the Jets are going to want to pair a receiver like Wilson with somebody like Elijah Moore, right? Two players very similarly, or do we think they look at somebody like Treylon Burks here?
I think they go Jameson Williams personally.
Yeah.
I think speed is now going to be a premium. You look in their own division, they got Tyreek Hill on the Miami Dolphins. So you got to have speed on your team, and I think it just makes sense they would go with the speed guy and go with someone that tested or would have tested out of this world if he was healthy and able to play. But I think the pairing of Elijah Moore and Jameson Williams is a little bit more attractive than, say, a pairing with Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, or one of those other receivers.
Yeah, I think the Jets, man, I think they really need to hit this pick. And the only thing that worries me about Jameson Williams is when is he going to come back? I know rehab has gone well, but if he doesn't make a big impact this year, I think if you're Joe Douglas, you might be out of a job. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know. I think maybe I'd trust Treylon Burks to be a little bit more high impact, but Jets are under 6 minutes. The pick is not in. What's a surprise one, right? What's a dark horse? We talked about Jermaine Johnson. Devin mentioned Kyle Hamilton. We talked about receiver. Maybe the Jets are the team. They're the surprise Trevor Penning team at 10. They panic here. I mean, what kind of dark horse candidates could we be looking at number 10?
Yeah, Trevor Penning would have been mine.
Yeah.
Maybe a linebacker? I don't know.
Ooh, you think they go Lloyd?
I don't think it, but if we're looking at surprises, it would fit the bill.
Yeah, because like CJ Mosley really hasn't performed well for them, and they have Jamie and Sherwood behind him and Hamza, I guess.
I love Hamza, man. Hamza Nasruddin was my dude last year, and I heard he had an okay rookie season. So hopefully he can.
He did get hurt though. He played through some injuries, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I don't know. We'll see here. The Jets, though, again, we can talk a little bit about the Sauce Gardner pick if we want, but I mean, I feel like at 10 here, I think that this needs to be a wide receiver. I really do. I know they have that need at edge rusher. I just don't think Jermaine Johnson is worth the top 10 pick. I really don't. I like the player, but man.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat as you. He ended up in my 20s in my big board rankings because I think he's a really good player. I don't know if he's the elite level yet or if he's going to get to that. And I think he's still going to be a really good, productive player in the NFL, but I don't see him as a top 10 pick in my opinion. But
the pick is in. The New York Jets select Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State.
There he goes.
So the Jets go with our wide receiver 1 and Garrett Wilson, somebody I had the pleasure of scouting in the Big Ten. Who wants to cover what we like so much about Garrett Wilson?
The route running. Of course. I mean, he counts. I mean, the count from Jordan Reed to Stephon Diggs with Garrett Wilson, I think, is really spot on. Because more than any receiver in this class, he's hitting blind spots. He's creating natural separation. Very fluid in and out of his breaks. People say, he jumps when he catches the football and all these different things. But when a play needs to be made, he made it at Ohio State. I understand they had Chris Olave, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. But Garrett Wilson was a dude that terrified teams in college because he could naturally get open and do a little bit of everything. The yak yardage, the ability to create separation in the short and long areas and track the football and just freakish athleticism to go up and make some ridiculous catches. So I love this pick here. And he finishes wide receiver 1 and rightfully so. He's the best receiver in this class.
Yeah, the only real knock on his game I had was his blocking. And in ideal offense, you're not asking your receiver to do a ton of blocking. Just hold his own. Everything else he scored very well in for me. I mean, as we already said, he was my wide receiver 1, and I'm pretty sure the rest of this groups. I mean, it's a great pick for the Jets.
I agree. So let's talk just real quick before we flip to the Washington Commanders at 11. What do we think about this Jets haul? Sauce Gardner at 4. Obviously, we all like the Garrett Wilson pick here at 10. Do we think they did a good enough job with these 2 premium selections to really help turn this team around?
I think it was okay. I think it was like they hit like 2 positions that they wanted to nail down. I mean, you got a corner now opposite of Bryce Hall, which I'm very excited about that duo. I love Bryce Hall coming out, and he played really well last year. And then obviously add another receiver for Zach Wilson. I just kind of worry now about the offensive line because, to me, not taking a tackle here in the first round, that tells me they're either, one, confident that Mekhi Becton is going to come back healthy and play very well at left tackle, or 2, they have another plan in place. Maybe they take a day 2 or day 3 tackle to push them a little bit. But I'm a little worried on them passing on the tackles in this class, specifically at the top. Because does that mean is it going to be a point of improvement this year? Because if it's not, then these picks will be heavily scrutinized.
Oh, okay. We have our first trade of the day. Per Ian Rappaport, the Washington Commanders are trading back. We do not have a confirmed trade partner, at least to my knowledge. But Washington is getting out of the 11th pick here. So they will not be picking.
Mike Garofalo says it's with the Saints.
Okay, the Saints are
I gotta
trading
hop
up.
out.
Devin Jackson will be leaving us to do his actual job, but he will be back. Don't worry. Yes, it is with the Saints per Ari My Sports update. So the Saints are moving up to pick 11 with the Washington Commanders. Devin will be leaving us, but we'll get him back and we'll ask him some Saints questions at the end of the night. So Nick Price, Tyler Browning, who the heck are the Saints coming up for at pick 11? Charles Cross was our prediction before we went live for their trade up. He's off the board. Is this Kenny Pickett at 11?
Could it be Malik Willis?
It might be.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, Mickey Loomis isn't above just trading up for whoever the hell he damn well pleases. I mean, we saw the leap he took to go get Marcus Davenport a couple years ago. I mean, I like Jameis personally, but I don't know if he's that guy to get you over the hump. Maybe they believe that's Malik Willis given his upside. That's a very big bet to take on. But outside that, I'm not sure who else they would be trading for. Like, to the best of my knowledge, they're set at safety, correct? I mean, I don't want to, I don't know.
Do they trade up for somebody like Kyle Hamilton? I don't know.
No, wait, because they're not. Because like Marcus Williams is now on the Ravens. No, but they have Marcus May. Never mind. Got a different Marcus May.
Yeah.
Could this be for receiver? Maybe they saw the receiver run a little bit and they were worried somebody like Traylon Burks wasn't going to fall to them. Maybe that's this trade up here. Or are you guys convinced this is quarterback?
Oh, no, they could go Jameson because since Jameson has that injury, he needs some time to recover. I mean, they still have like Marcus Callaway, Straquan Smith. I mean, they're solid. They're not terrible at receiver. So they probably could afford to live with that for a few weeks until Jameson gets healthy. That would make sense to me. I don't know, Brownie, do you have a different take?
I mean, I'm just going to feel for Devin if it's for Desmond Ridder.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
No.
That would be so funny.
I don't want that evil on him. I don't wish it on anyone except the Eagles. Sorry, Mike. But, I mean, I'm not ruling out anything here, really.
Yeah, honestly, knowing the Saints, they're another team that likes to take some weird liberties in the first round. Maybe they're coming up for that 4th offensive tackle off the board. We know that's one of their big needs. Again, I wouldn't warrant that, but I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of different options here, and that's one of the fun things about this draft. It's been a little bit not chalky per se, but I don't know. This feels like the biggest curveball that we've gotten so far. Still no word on who the Saints are going to select. They're 4 minutes into the clock.
Do we have compensation on the trade yet?
I have not seen compensation on trade yet, so we can't talk about that either.
Oh, wait.
I'm assuming they're moving back to Washington's. Oh, here it is. Yep. Trade terms are in. Number 11 to the Saints for number 16, 98, and 120. So I believe that's a 3rd, a 4th, and then obviously a swap of 1st. So Washington gets back the Saints' 3rd and 4th round pick to move up 5 spots from 16 to 11 is the official trade. That's not bad. No. I'd say that's pretty fair, frankly. I think that's probably good value for both sides there.
I'd imagine that aligns with the trade chart very well.
I would agree.
Yeah.
So Washington stacking up on picks. Obviously, they made the trade for Carson Wentz this offseason. Didn't feel too pressured there. They felt like they could move back 5 spots, still get a quality player. The Saints are really, really high on somebody. If it's a quarterback, man, we're going to have a lot of questions. We're going to be talking a lot of stuff. We might not see Devin for the rest of the night. If it's a quarterback off the board, we're going to have to get a replacement for him on stream. But we'll see. No trades in the top 10, though. First one comes at 11. Very interesting. I was expecting some trades in the top 10. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. I'm reasonably disappointed because I wanted to see madness.
Me too. I was expecting this draft to be a little bit more crazier than it has been.
Yeah.
I really was. There's been some like mild surprises, right? Like Drake London's a mild surprise. Ahmad Gardner's a mild surprise, but like nothing too crazy. We've seen those players go in the top 10 of mocks for months now. But this feels like like I said, the real first curveball that we've gotten from this draft. So going to be really interesting. Saints are taking this down to the wire. They are under the 2-minute warning for their pick. So usually when picks are traded, okay, just came in on ESPN. I'll hit the refresh button on Twitter. I'm excited about this one. I really haven't been that excited about.
Could it be Trevor Penning?
That was kind of my sleeper, was Trevor Penning.
Fun.
Because, again, we know the tackle's a huge need for this Saints team. I'm getting a long refresh here.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know.
Oh, goodness.
Did Twitter crash? Will we actually have to wait in real time?
Oh, that's depressing.
I don't know. I still got nothing. The pick is in. Want to say, we'll give a quick shout out to our listeners. You've been with us for an hour and a half. We really, really appreciate you. The pick is in.
I like this.
Wide receiver Chris Olave from Ohio State. So the Saints move up 5 spots to take Chris Olave. That is the 3rd wide receiver off the board in the first 11 picks. That is the 2nd in a row. So the Saints just can't get away from Chris Olave here. They move up to get him. Nick Price, you said you like it. Tell me why.
Well, kind of in the same vein that we talked about Garrett Wilson. Olave is going to do a lot of things for you, namely out of the slot for me. Obviously, there's the Ohio State connection between him and Mike Thomas. But again, really great route runner. I like how he sets up DBs to fail. Really good quickness with his feet. Obviously, the hands. I remember, I especially cut his freshman tape. I think there was a catch against Clemson where he mossed the receiver on the sideline, corner on the sideline. So, he has that really good body control, good concentration through the catch point. We've been people have been predicting this for months. Granted, I didn't think they'd trade up for him, not necessarily, but I mean, I'm not shocked at all that it's Chris Olave. I think I don't know what they're doing with their other pick. Oh, the Lions just traded up.
The Lions did just trade up. I was about to say that.
Boy.
So let's finish talking about the Chris Olave pick, and then we'll move to the Lions, who are moving up with division rival Minnesota. Pour one out for Tyler Fornes. Lions coming back up to 12. This might be our quarterback, guys. But, Browning, do you have anything to add about Chris Olave before we talk about the Lions trading back up?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Garrett Wilson being a good route runner. Chris Olave is a better route runner, I think. He's probably one of the best in the class. He decelerates really well going into breaks, sinks his hips. Really good at giving QB an open throwing window. Again, the biggest glaring thing was blocking, and you're not asking receivers to do a ton of that. The only other knock, per se, to his game I had was he has plenty of releases in his toolbox, but he didn't always use them. I don't know if that was coaching not asking him to, DBs being off him or what, but I mean, I know the Cowboys liked him, and that would have been a great pick for them, in my opinion. I don't hate this for the Saints. I'm happy Devin didn't get stuck with QB. So,
well, he still might.
He still might.
Let's be honest here.
He's off the hook here. Let's talk about the Lions trading with the Minnesota Vikings at pick 12. So the Lions' next pick was presumably the last one of the first round at 32. So that means the Lions are coming up.
Oh, wow. Oh,
and
wow.
it is a lot of compensation. It is 12 and 46 going to the Lions for 32, 34, and 66. So that is the last pick in the first round, the second pick in the second round, and the second pick in the third round going to Minnesota in exchange for pick 12 and pick 46. So the Vikings also get a second rounder back in this trade, in the trade back. So it looks like the Vikings are going to pick at pick 32 and 46. The Lions coming all the way up to 12. Boys, is this our quarterback one off the board at 12?
Let me ask you all this. How much do you trust Benjamin Solak?
As an insider?
He seems to think it's Jameson.
He says per source. Wow.
He could be shitposting. I don't know.
I think he's serious. I think he might be right. We won't confirm it. But Benjamin Solak is reporting that it will be Jameson Williams, not confirmed yet. If the pick is Jameson Williams, we'll play that game. Would you like this trade up? This is a hefty payday to come all the way up from 32 to 12 to get Jameson Williams.
It means they're rolling out their QB this year.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that given the quarterback class that we're experiencing?
I'm perfectly fine with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot. Looks to be a lot better. I'm comfortable with that.
It's a lot to give up. It really, I think that's probably my only hesitation about it is you give up a late first, a second, and a third. Go up 20 picks for a player who just tore his ACL. I like Jameson Williams, and that is the pick confirmed from My Sports Update. So shout out to our boy Benjamin Solak. Breaking news. Yeah, insider Benjamin Solak.
What a king.
Breaking the Jameson Williams news. So that is 3 straight wide receivers off the board, 2 coming in a trade up. Who wants to talk about Jameson Williams going to the Lions?
I'll take over. Listen, the Lions have been in the market for a wide receiver for what feels like eons now. They tried it with Marvin Jones, ever since losing Calvin Johnson to retirement. I think it's worth it ultimately. Listen, if Williams can successfully recover from that ACL tear, he showed incredible route running savvy at Alabama this year. Electric speed down the field. If he had ran the 40, it would have been quite impressive in and of itself. I think he's really good with his hands. And, of course, what he offers you after the catch is amazing. But I don't blame them for punting quarterback till I'm assuming in his next year, and we haven't seen the totality of the draft class yet. But listen, if I've heard people say that they like Jared Goff, at least for the short term. If they think they can win with him by giving him Jameson Williams, I think that's fine. Granted, it's kind of similar. I kind of put the same argument onto them as I did with the Saints just before. DJ Shark is fine. Amon-Ra St. Brown is fine. So you could probably afford to wait a few weeks. You can get away with waiting a few weeks until he gets on the field. So I think that's how they could probably justify him taking him here. But I have to agree with you, Dante. Man, that compensation's a bit rough. Especially for a team with a lot of needs.
To go up for 20 picks. Tyler Browning, your thoughts on the Lions trading up for Jameson Williams?
Y'all said it best. It's a lot to give up, especially for someone who's not going to see the field right away. I just realized I did not put Jameson Williams report in my guide, even though he is listed. So that's my bad to the readers.
Dante, do you have news?
More news. We do. The Texans are trading out of number 13. So we have 3 straight trades. The Eagles are coming up. Not sure what pick is giving up, whether that is pick 15 or pick 19 that the Eagles are coming up from. 18. So the Eagles could come up from 18 or 15. Eagles are coming up here. Who do we think it's for? The Eagles were another team that was a receiver-esque team. Top 4 guys that we had first-round grades on. I'm just speaking for all of us generally. They're gone. London, Olave, Wilson, Williams. Adios. Treylon Burks still on the board. He's here. Who do we think the Eagles are coming up for with Houston?
Knowing my luck, my Thursday was too good. I don't know why, but do you think it's Jermaine? They just keep stacking edge rushers. Because I know they signed Hassan Reddick in the offseason. They have Josh Sweat, but Brandon Graham's getting older. And they re-signed Derek Barnes to effectively a one-year deal. Do you think it could be Jermaine?
It could be Jermaine. I wouldn't take him here. I'd like to think that this would be Treylon Burks, but
and Browning died on us.
Yeah, we lost Browning. I don't know what he's up to. He's doing some technical stuff, I'm assuming. But yeah, 3 straight trades. I don't know. I'd like to think this is Treylon Burks over Jermaine Johnson, Nick. I don't know. I mean, I think that a premium player like that, I think is something that you trade up for. And I think we got compensation for this deal. So it looks like Philly is giving up 15, 124, 162, and 166 to the Texans. So the Texans moving back 2 spots as our fearless leader, Tyler Browning, rejoins us here on the stream.
Sorry, I had some audio issues.
You're good. You actually sound a little bit better now, if I'm being honest with you. So we just talked about compensation. It just came through. The Eagles giving up 15, 124, 162, and 166 to move up 2 spots here to pick 13. 3 straight trades. Do we see a 4th straight receiver come off the board here, Tyler Browning?
Let me look at my board. I mean, Burks, maybe?
Maybe.
I wouldn't hate that. I mean, I would hate it as a Cowboys fan, but it makes sense. I just pray it's QB, selfishly.
They're not coming up for a QB. Stop it. Stop.
I know.
Stop. I'm going to be honest. I want to say this. I am proud of the NFL for not taking any quarterbacks in the first 12 picks so far. So unless the Eagles go full crazy town here and take another one off the board, I think we're going to be safe for a little bit, barring another trade up. But
could it be Kyle Hamilton?
I was thinking that, but
that is kind of the dark horse. This was my floor for him. I thought if Houston would snap him up, so maybe the Eagles just made them a really, really good offer here. I think Jermaine Johnson's an option. Kyle Hamilton's an option. The pick is in. I do not have it yet, but it is in according to ESPN.
What was the compensation again? Sorry, I missed that.
15, 124, 162, and 166.
Oh, so they didn't give up much at all.
Not much at all. They still get to hold on to those day 2 picks. Again, only coming up 2 spots here. We'll see what this is going to be. This is an interesting one. I think we got 2 straight curveballs here. I would be really, really, really surprised if it's not Treylon Burks or Jermaine Johnson. I really feel like that. Oh, I finally got one right. The Eagles select Georgia defensive tackle Jordan Davis with the 13th overall pick. The Eagles come up.
The Ravens fans are going to be sick, man.
The Eagles come up 2 picks for Jordan Davis.
Oh, brother.
Who wants to talk about the mammoth defensive tackle, Nick Price? You're up.
Bro, they sniped y'all.
Listen, if they get Jermaine, I don't give a shit. If Baltimore gets Jermaine, I don't care. Listen, Fletcher Cox, short-term. He's back on a short-term deal. End of his career. He probably is not going to be playing in Philly after 2022. You get his immediate replacement in Jordan Davis, who tested out of his gourd this offseason. Granted, we knew he had really good film. Granted, personally, I like Devontae White a little bit better, but still, I cannot deny the fact that Jordan Davis is probably one of the most athletically gifted people I've ever seen in my life for how big he is. I think he's really good against the run. I want to say he's scheme versatile in a way where he can play. He can really thrive in a 1-gap, 2-gap type of read where he can, blitz gap, get good gap penetration, make havoc in the backfield. I think he's really good with his hand placement. Obviously, the big knock on him is pass rush upside. You didn't see too much of him able to string moves together, really have much an effect as a pass rusher as compared to some of his peers in this class. So that's my only worry. But like right out of the gate, you're getting an excellent run defender. And I think Eagles fans should be happy. I hope Mike isn't pissed. I really hope.
I don't know if Mike is pissed. He's not in the chat talking to us anymore, so we'll see. But the Eagles take Jordan Davis after a trade up with Houston. The defensive tackle comes in with Fletcher Cox and some other guys. I mean, that is a really, really nice defensive line the Eagles have got going. Finally got one right on my mock draft 3.0. We were batting roughly 0%. Really like the Jordan Davis pick. I'm of the belief that he is worth a top 15 selection. I know maybe he's not going to play as many snaps as you want him to. And you know what? I think that this is an interesting trade up because they didn't really give up that much. Eagles hold on to that second round pick. They still have pick 19 that they're going to make as well. So really interesting stuff. We'll move on. Knicks Ravens are on the clock here at 14.
Beautiful.
So finally, somebody's favorite team gets on the clock. My favorite team not making a pick tonight. Browning's team will go a little bit later. Nick, who do you want here at 14? I know you just said Jermaine Johnson, so let's separate that. Say it's not Jermaine Johnson. Who are options B, C, and so on?
All right, so I first want to sit here and play devil's advocate for someone right quick. And it'd be very similar to what the Falcons did several years ago. I figured I would much rather than trade back for this player, but Zion Johnson is a player I wouldn't mind for Baltimore. I mean, high floor player, immediate starter, left guard, potentially center. Kyle Krabs put out his mock draft. I could kind of see his wisdom with it last week about the Ravens possibly taking Zion here. It's a boring pick. I know most Ravens fans would probably like lose their crap over it, but personally for me, you get a guy who is very effective in a gap power scheme. Works well up to the second level. I think, as a pass protector, can definitely keep Lamar clean. Outside of that, I'd be interested in Kyle. I'd consider Kyle Hamilton.
We're just going to keep saying that until he goes off the board.
Well, and the only reason why
just seems to be what is going to happen.
And the only reason why I say Hamilton is because, granted, I like Chuck Clark. Chuck's been very good for Baltimore ever since he got a chance to play. But Kyle Hamilton's just special. I mean, a player with his instincts, range, like athleticism, tackling ability in the open field. If I was DaCosta and Joe Ortiz, I would be very, very tempted to take Hamilton here. But ultimately, I'm hoping it's Jermaine.
Wow.
If it's not Jermaine,
they're not going to replace Lamar Jackson, Nick.
I'm gonna leave the stream if you keep going, man. Don't give me that, all right? Don't give me that.
Oh man! So the Eagles with Jordan Davis. We are waiting on the Ravens to get on the clock. They've yet to announce that pick, so we are very much ahead of some of the other streams. So thank you to our listeners who are watching. You are getting these picks pretty quickly. We are ahead of most people. I'm trying to follow on Twitter, so we're doing a pretty good job in that category. We're waiting on the Ravens to go on the clock here at 14. Nick just brought you through some of the options that they could possibly go with. What's been everyone's biggest surprise, real quick, as we kill some time before the Ravens get on the clock? What has really shocked you all here in the first 13 selections? And it could be what has happened or maybe what hasn't happened as well.
I got to go with Detroit trade up for Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. I think obviously we kind of heard the buzz, right? Jameson Williams probably not going to get outside of the top 15, but did not expect Detroit to trade up 20 picks, man. That's wild. And if you look at that Detroit receiver room, they have DJ Chark. You like Amon-Ra St. Brown. You add Jameson Williams now to that group of players. You add Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. I know that, we can grapple about whether or not Hutchinson was number 2. I think we both feel like he's going to be a good pick. And the pick is in for the Ravens. It is Notre Dame safety Kyle Hamilton off the board at number 14 overall.
Okay, listen.
Me and Browning's number 1 overall player, but I will let Nick talk a little bit more about why he likes Kyle Hamilton here at 14.
Oh, man. All right. It's not Jermaine. I'm fine with it because Kyle Hamilton is. Let me look. My number 3 player on my board. He could have very well easily been my number 1 player overall on my board, but man, that's exciting. You sign Marcus Williams in the offseason to be your free safety. You don't. I mean, you're not necessarily like fully attached to the hip with Chuck Clark, which, like I previously said, I like Chuck Clark. I really do, but he's not in the same realm of player that Kyle Hamilton could be for you. As I said, Kyle Hamilton, really good instincts. He runs the alley very well. He tackles very well in the box. He can be moved all around as like an overhang defender, like I said, in the box, strong safety. I think Mike McDonald stepping in. I'm surprised he didn't go edge rusher to kind of pair with Adafi away. Granted, we'll see what Baltimore does. They have pick 45 tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. But I think as many hurdles as Baltimore had to try to jump over last year with the injuries to their secondary, I think given the weapons, especially with what Cincinnati has been able to do with Jamar Chase, I think protecting the back end and trying to force coverage sacks maybe is my guess. But no, I'm pleased with it. I can't be mad at it.
I love this. I think, and Browning, I'll let you go in a second. I mean, I think this is about as good as a fit gets for Kyle Hamilton. This is a team that I trust to use him well. What do you got here at pick 14, Kyle Hamilton off the board?
And I think you just stole him from the Eagles, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we're being honest here, yeah.
Maybe.
Which I'm very happy about. Thank you, Nick.
Don't have to deal with him at all there, Dallas fan Tyler Browning. So we are very much ahead of the actual draft. Jordan Davis is just walking to the stage right now, at least on my stream. Kyle Hamilton, I love that fit for the Ravens, man. I think that they really are a team that could use him the way that he's supposed to be used. You put him in the box, you let him play free safety, you put him in the middle of the field as a robber. Maybe you match him up in man against some bigger, more physical tight ends that a smaller corner can't handle. I just think that that's a team where I feel comfortable, mocking a defensive weapon like that too. They strike me as the right team that will develop him and put him in situations to succeed. So let's talk about the Houston Texans at pick 15. Obviously, they made the trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, moving back 2 spots, letting the Eagles come up for Georgia defensive tackle Jordan Davis. What do we think Houston does here? At 15, they took Derek Stingley at 3, so corner obviously off the board for them. And well, I mean, I guess it's Houston, so there's probably at least a 10% chance they'll take another corner. But where do we think they go here? This is an interesting one. A lot of people are mocking Kyle Hamilton to them. What do we think they do here?
Probably Jermaine. I mean, they need a pass rusher next to Jonathan Grenard, which Grenard had a solid year last year with getting 8.5 sacks, but I still think you need more outside of him. I still think to go defense.
My sleeper pick here would be, I don't know, like another tackle. If they need an offensive lineman, maybe this is where Trevor Penning comes off the board. Honestly, if I was Houston, I'd see if anyone wants to come up again. I'd trade back again. I don't know, this is going to be tough. I don't know who I would pick here. I don't think they're going to take another wide receiver, so I don't think Burks is in play. They spent a lot of money at that position. They have guys at that position that they like. What do we think here? We gotta talk this one through. Besides Jermaine Johnson, are we looking at tackle? Do you guys disagree with me? Maybe a receiver is the pick here.
Sorry, I'm still reeling from getting Kyle Hamilton. I'm just kind of like, all right.
I mean, I think it very well could be a tackle. I would say corner, but they went Stingley already. Super dark horse, unlikely. A reach on Daxton Hill, maybe. You're muted.
I am muted. That would be interesting. It'd be another safety off the board. Daxton Hill at 16 would be fun.
Dante, I have the pick.
Nick has the pick. Nick, do you want to do the honors? I've kind of stolen all the picks.
I want to do this. So, okay,
guys,
this is fascinating. According to Jordan Schultz, all right.
So a bit of a flaky source.
Flaky, but
yes.
I'm going to say this regardless. Apparently, the Texans are taking Kenyan Green, offensive tackle from Texas A&M.
Okay, so we'll talk about it as a hypothetical. We'll see if somebody else who I think is worth a damn confirms it. Kenyan Green, do we like it? Yes or no?
It's a reach for me. I'm going to be a little honest with you. Granted, I love Kenyan Green, but I feel like to me, I think he's someone you draft like more in the 20s. Like, so that's where I have him ranked. He's 22 overall for me.
I'm okay with it. You get him in a trade down, and yes, it just confirmed by My Sports Update. It is going to be Kenyan Green out of Texas A&M for the Houston Texans at pick 15. So again, they traded back with the Eagles. Green, I think he's a guard. I do. I think that he's a guard. Does have some offensive tackle experience though.
Which it makes sense that they're going to play him at guard because I don't think they should try to play Titus Howard at guard again. Like that, his natural position is a tackle. So getting him on the same line with Tunsil, Titus Howard, I think they could have done worse. I think Casario must have played it safe with this pick. I'm going to be honest with you. He didn't try to overthink it.
Kenyan Green is player 10 for me. I loved his tape. I think he was really good. He was often pegged as a Dallas Cowboy. I'm wondering if they're getting pressure to come up for Zion Johnson.
That's a good take. I mean, that is the first possible interior player to really come off the board. The previous offensive linemen definitely have futures at tackle. Kenyan Green, really a guy, the first primary interior guy to come off the board. So maybe that starts that run. Maybe we start talking about the Tyler Linderbaum, Zion Johnsons of the world. I like this pick a lot for Houston. This just feels like, look, he's going to come in and he's going to be a good football player, right? Like that's kind of what it feels like. Maybe he's not a Pro Bowl caliber guard or tackle right off the bat, but you feel good about his ability to come in and start for you early and give you good reps on that offensive line at either guard or tackle. Again, I think that he's a guard. They just announced Kyle Hamilton to the Ravens. So again, we are tracking about a pick ahead of ESPN right now. So we'll do our best to keep you guys filled in. And I believe we have a big trade involving the Ravens. Hollywood Brown has been traded to the Arizona Cardinals.
What?
Ian Rappaport. Hollywood Brown traded to the Arizona Cardinals. Unsure what the compensation is, what that pick will look at. It looks like it is going to be the 23rd overall pick.
Those mad lads. Oh my goodness. Brownie, wait, does this mean they go George Pickens tomorrow or something?
Maybe.
Oh, these mad lads. DaCosta, you mad lad.
So the Cardinals are trading 23. They'll get pick 100 back in return, as well as Hollywood Brown. The Ravens will pick again at pick 23. Right now, Washington is on the clock after their trade down. So it is trades galore. Let's get a little bit more reaction to Hollywood Brown going to the Cardinals. What do we think about that fit? Obviously, we like the speed, but Hollywood Brown, kind of an inconsistent player.
I love it. You get him next to Hopkins or you not him with Murray. I mean, that's a great receiver room. Those two.
Pick 23 for Hollywood Brown?
Listen, Dante, I don't care. Let Steve Keim be stupid. Listen, I liked Hollywood.
Crazy pick,
I
man.
liked Hollywood enough. He was a good secondary option for Rashad Bateman. I agree. He had a really good season before Lamar went down and his targets started to go down. But
That's crazy. I mean,
good Lord. I'm writing my parents are downstairs watching the NFL draft, and I can't wait to hear them absolutely go fucking insane.
Hollywood Brown in the Cardinals' defense, he did just have the best season of his career, of his 3-year career. He did just eclipse 1,000 yards for the first time, had 6 touchdowns, had a career high 91 catches. But this is a player who struggled with drops. This is a player who has only gone over 1,000 yards once. I don't know.
Wow.
That's a lot to give up for a player like Hollywood Brown.
I'm not a huge target share guy, but I'm pretty sure his target share has been more than Jerry Jeudy ever since they entered the league. So he commands targets at a high rate.
I don't think Hollywood Brown's a bad player. I don't want that to get out
he's
there.
not.
I mean, he's my namesake. That I'm Hollywood Dante because he's Hollywood Brown. And we just got the Commanders pick as we were stalling for time.
Interesting.
This is an interesting one. It is Penn State wide receiver Jahan Dotson off the board at number 16 overall. That is the 5th wide receiver to go in the first round. And we just had a young ascending wide receiver traded for a first round pick. Let's talk first about Jahan Dotson, and we can kind of work in some Hollywood Brown talk at the end. What do we think about that pick for the Commanders?
I wish Devin was here.
Yes, yeah. Devin is a noted Jahan Dotson hater. What do we think about this pick, though? Do we like this selection for the Commanders at 16?
I mean, him and Terry is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Who's throwing him the ball? That's a different question. I'm not sold on Carson Wentz, as nor should anyone be, but
right.
Him and Terry are going to be fun together.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm losing my train of thought here, guys. I'm trying to be a good analyst, but crap's just gotten really crazy the last few seconds. But anyway, Jahan Dotson.
Do better, Nick. Do better.
Fine, God. Jahan's like my second round. He's like an 85.9. I really like Jahan. I think some of the circus catches. I think I got baited into some of the circus catches he's made throughout his tape. But I think, like Browning said, he's going to work really well with Terry McLaurin. I think Washington really could have waited though if they were going to take him. I think maybe they probably could have traded back and maybe at the middle of the 20s to get him, but. Washington really could have waited though if they were going to. I don't know. Maybe
this is a weird one. I mean, they trade back, right? So they get some capital in that move back, and they still go with Jahan Dotson. Look, Dotson's a really good route runner. He's sudden. He's got good yak ability. You like his ability to high point, even though he's a slender player. But I think that you've got to develop him physically. I'm so happy that Devin Jackson is back.
There he is.
Good. There he is.
I'm so happy. Devin, you missed a lot. You're back for your favorite player in the class to come off the board. And Jahan Dotson, do you have any kind words you want to say about your favorite player?
I'm going to get water while this is happening.
Kind words. Oh, man. Commanders, what are you doing, man? What's happening here? Look, I want to preface this by saying I do not dislike Jahan Dotson, the player. I think he's a really good player. 16 overall, though, I just can't get on board with that. I just don't see. He got like a low second round for me, which I mean he's still a borderline top 50 player, but I just cannot fathom that he was a pick there.
Yeah, I mean I get it, right? You finally want to get somebody to pair with Terry McLaurin. They haven't had really someone to pull attention away from him. I get it, I guess, but man, this is a huge reach. 5 wide receivers go. Devin, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the trade up for Chris Olave. You're a Saints guy. I want to get your take on that while we're killing some time here.
I think it was smart because as we see now, receivers are flying off the board. You got to go up and get your guy, and that's exactly what they did. So I don't dislike the pick. He's been linked to the Saints for a number of months, and they got a need, and they love Ohio State players. So it made a lot of sense to me.
All right, well, we are waiting on the LA Chargers pick. Devin, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about that you missed? Any of the other selections that
How about that
caught your eye?
trade?
What's up?
How about that second trade? Hollywood and 100 to Arizona for pick 23.
I think that's a bad trade for Arizona.
You think?
I don't know what they're doing, man. I mean, you just let Christian Kirk leave Arizona, and you get another kind of a smaller receiver that he's a deep threat, played with Kyler Murray. I mean, it seems like a move to please Kyler Murray more than anything, because you could easily trade it up and got a Treylon Burks or somebody else that you wanted. But they have to be one of the smallest receiving corps outside DeAndre Hopkins, because you got Rondell Moore still, Andy Isabella, and now Marquise Brown. So probably one of the smaller receiving corps that you'll see out there.
Yeah, man, I really think that they're down bad trying to please Kyler. Like, that's where I'm at with it. Like, I really just think that they're down bad trying to get Kyler back on board. Lamar Jackson apparently not particularly happy about this trade based on his recent retweets. Here's my thing is we there's a conversation needs to be had on the receiver market. All right, look, capitalism is out of hand. This is absurd. This is 5 receivers in the first 16 picks. The Cardinals are trading 23 overall for a guy with stones for hands. The Jaguars paid Christian Kirk $44 billion. The Dolphins traded every draft pick and their mother for Tyreek Hill. This is nuts, man. The wide receiver value in this class alone, I mean, this year, I mean, it is just skyrocketed. People are paying premium for, like, guys. This is wild.
And the Cowboys are accepting mid-round picks.
I think, receiver is becoming a saturated position. So I guess these guys are like, we need a receiver. We're just going to take one. And it doesn't really matter what value you have.
My God, another huge blockbuster trade.
What the fuck?
The Titans are trading A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles per Adam Schefter. A.J. Brown to the Eagles. There is no word on compensation yet, but that is the latest blockbuster. Capitalism is out of control again for the receivers. Instant reaction. A.J. Brown to the Eagles. Who wants to take it?
Are the Eagles buyers right now? Like,
it looks
are
like
they
it.
Are they legitimate content? No. Look, I don't know. I don't know what the move is here right now for the Eagles. I mean, they got Jordan Davis, and now I would assume probably that other first round pick is going to the Titans. Maybe the Titans are going to go quarterback here. Maybe if it is indeed a
quarterback. Oh, man. I cannot believe A.J. Brown, Marquise Brown traded, I mean, within 20 minutes of each other.
Before Debo.
Yeah, and the Commanders took Jahan Dotson at 16. Just throwing it out there. Wow. Crazy. A.J. Brown traded to the Eagles. I mean, that's about that's a great trade for the Eagles. It really is. I mean, they're going to leave this draft potentially with Jordan Davis on the defensive side of the ball, and then A.J. Brown at wide receiver. I mean, just an absolute blockbuster. I don't think it gets much better than that.
I'm speechless.
Compensation to pick 18 and more.
18 and a third per.
I'm telling you,
my sports.
Titans. The Titans might do it and get Malik Willis. They might do it.
Crazy, man.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
They might do it. And I thought they might wait to maybe get a Desmond Ridder, but man, who knows?
A.J. Brown traded for pick 18. Whew. Man, I mean, really good fit for the Eagles. I mean, I don't think it gets much better than that. I mean, he's going to be a killer on those dig routes. He's going to be a really, really good downfield threat for Jalen Hurts. He'll be really, really good in the manufactured touch game for them. This draft is getting crazy, guys. This is really spiraled out of control. That is, I mean, just receiver after receiver getting moved. And
somebody want to check my blood pressure right quick?
Wow.
My goodness.
And it apparently Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown were working out together. And that's kind of maybe what.
Or maybe the Titans are gonna take Treylon Burks and replace A.J. Brown with Burks.
Maybe. Interestingly enough, I don't know if I missed the Chargers pick getting tipped. I don't know if anyone else saw it, but
Zion.
Yes, Okay. Roger Goodell is about to announce that it is Zion Johnson from Boston College. I did not see it get tipped, which is interesting. But Zion Johnson off the board here. We'll continue to talk about this crazy receiver market, but I need someone to talk about Zion Johnson going to the Chargers at pick number 17.
This is a perfect fit. He's a top 15 player on my board, so the value was right about there. And I think he behind Tyler Linderbaum, he's the second best interior offensive lineman in this class. Just rock solid. Obviously, didn't have the greatest tape at tackle, but at guard, he was phenomenal at Boston College and able to create lanes, work well on double teams, sift through pass rush stunts. So everything you look for in a guard, and I love the fit there, and the Chargers definitely upgrade their offensive line.
Yeah, I totally agree here. I think this is a really, really good trade. Anyone else have anything to add on Zion Johnson?
All right, I gotta pop back out for this. Getting ready for the Saints pick here.
Yeah, the Saints are coming up at 19. We have to talk about 18. The Titans obviously traded that pick. AJ Brown going to 18. What do we think the Titans end up doing with that selection? Obviously, the Eagles get one of the best young receivers in football. What do the Titans get in return here?
Could this be our first QB?
That's what Devin was saying.
Man.
I would hate that trade AJ Brown for a QB, but it would make sense value-wise.
It would. It's just that I mean, okay, yes, it does, because like you can't put faith in Ryan Tannehill, it seems, that much longer.
Well, you're crumbling his infrastructure by trading AJ
exactly.
Brown. I mean, you're making him a worse quarterback. So I don't know. Maybe this is the blow up that Devin thinks it is. I think it would be really interesting. Again, I just want to say I'm very proud of the NFL for letting these quarterbacks slip. I want to see us get out of the first round without a quarterback off the board. I want this to be like Trevor Penning or something. Like I will be floating. The pick is in according to ESPN. I do not have a tip. We'll see. Waiting on it. Kind of glossed over the
thing ever.
I'm just shocked, man. That is too. You got to be sick right now if you're Steve Keim, right? I mean, you're sitting in your chair. You just traded 23 for Hollywood Brown. 18 got AJ Brown. I mean, you got to be sick, right? I mean, like that's tough. Wow. Yeah, Titans players not happy about that AJ Brown trade.
I wouldn't be either.
Eagles just
18 and 101 was the official compensation.
Yes, per the Eagles, 18 and 101. So that is I believe a late third and obviously the first there in the 18th.
My goodness.
Yeah, Eagles, man, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a really, really good young wide receiver duo right there. We just got our resident Eagle fan, Mike's reaction. He seems to be a happy man.
Hey, maybe this helps him move on from Rieger.
Yeah, maybe.
A little bit. You think?
I think so. Honestly, if I was the Titans, I would have tried to get Rieger back in. Okay, so they have traded AJ Brown for Arkansas wide receiver Treylon Burks at 18. So Burks is a player that many people have comped to AJ Brown. They have a similar play style, a similar body type. What do you guys think about this? Obviously, the Titans moving AJ Brown for Treylon Burks. Is this just a plug and play, or is this something different?
In my opinion, it is. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, is AJ Brown on his second contract or still on his first?
He's still in his first contract, but he was looking for an extension, which is kind of why those trade rumors started in the first place.
So it makes sense from that perspective. They're trying to get cheaper, save some money, get a very replaceable player in Treylon Burks. I think it's about as plug and play as you can get for a player like AJ Brown.
True. It's something about it feels very circular that I know fans are probably going to be absolutely upset about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like give a player that you of a very similar player to who you just traded away. I don't know. I think it's just weird.
Here's the thing, though, right? It's the it's the boat problem from the Family Guy episode, right? Because, what could be in the box, it could be A.J. Brown, right? But it also could not be A.J. Brown, and you already had A.J. Brown, right? And I like Treylon Burks, right? Like, I don't want to get it twisted. He's a top 10 player on my board. The Titans get good value here for him, straight up at 18, not considering that they traded A.J. Brown. But this is literally the boat problem from Family Guy, right? Where it's like, we've always wanted a boat. And it's like, yeah, you already have a boat. And you just traded him for maybe a boat. But Treylon Burks, man, really, really athletic football player. I think that if you're going to trade A.J. Brown, this is the player maybe that you trade him for if you're going to replace him like that. But, man, that is a huge risk.
Wow. The Eagles also just extended A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that was coming down the line. You got numbers on that?
It is $100 million over 4 years, and $57 million of it's guaranteed.
That's not bad. That's a lot of money, man. Wow.
And this whole thing's just gone off the rails, hasn't it?
It really has. I'm telling you, capitalism's out of control. I'm tired of these receivers getting paid all this money. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. That's all we've seen all offseason. Why don't we pay fullbacks? Pay some fullbacks.
Yes.
I couldn't even say that with a straight face, man. This is crazy, though. This is crazy. All right, so we know that the Titans took Treylon Burks at 18. They have not announced it on ESPN yet. The Saints, Devin's team, coming back on the clock here at 19. We saw them trade up for Chris Olave earlier in the night. Where do you guys think they go here? They were a potential Treylon Burks landing spot, but he's off the board. Is the first quarterback off the board? Is this Trevor Penning? What do you guys think?
It's looking pretty slim at wide receiver.
It is.
I agree.
You're going to be making a big reach if you take one.
Who would that even be here? I mean, for me, it would be like wide receiver 6, 7. I mean, this would be like Sky Moore or like Christian Watson.
9 for me and Christian Watson.
Yeah. So like, I mean, wow.
Wouldn't rule out George Pickens?
I wouldn't personally.
No.
Yeah.
Yep. 4-year, $100 million extension, $57 million guaranteed. Oh, wow. Got to take a deep breath. We just had a lot of stuff go down.
Yeah.
Saints. I think the Saints could really blow us away here with a quarterback. I think that would send us over again. Devin Jackson, our Saints guy, is off covering the team. I don't know. Maybe we get a sleeper pick here. Maybe this is where Dax Hill comes off the board. Saints could use some help at safety. Dax Hill's got a really good athlete. Wide receiver would be a shocker. Christian Watson. Offensive line, maybe Trevor Penning. Maybe they trade this pick for Deebo Samuel. I mean, who the hell knows? This is wide receiver market is just nuts.
Oh man. I mean,
all right. Let's say we'll play the hypothetical game, right?
Okay.
Let's say it's a quarterback. Which quarterback should it be for the Saints here at 19 as we kill time for them to make their pick? You have to pick one. I'm forcing you to pick one.
I think it's got to be Malik Willis.
Malik Willis. Browning.
Who should it be is an interesting question.
Yes, who should it be? Not who will it be. Who should it be?
You can argue Kenny Pickett.
Well, that's true because of the floor.
And he's more accurate than Malik, can connect with Michael Thomas. And Chris Olave, who they took earlier. I mean, if you're betting on ceiling, you're obviously going Malik Willis. But
yeah,
if you're betting on floor, it's Kenny.
I agree. I mean, I think Willis makes the most sense here, frankly, because I mean, you're outside the top 15. I mean, if you want to throw a dart at the board, this is your second first-round pick. You already traded up for a player in Chris Olave that you like. So I think that makes a ton of sense. I think that is really where they could go. And if you're the Steelers, I mean, maybe you're sweating bullets here. Steelers are another team that, could go quarterback at 20. So
have we gotten a reaction from our friend from the Great White North yet?
About the AJ Brown thing, I don't know what Mike is up to, honestly. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh, I have the Saints pick, guys. And it's funny.
Sorry,
no, I'm sorry, Dante, to kill your thunder.
Go for it. Shoot it.
My friends, the New Orleans Saints are selecting Northern Iowa offensive tackle Trevor Penning. I called it. Trevor Penning off the board here at pick 19. Tackle was a big need for the Saints. This was a pick that was mocked to them at their first pick. We talked about it when they traded up at 12. They ended up going with Chris Olave. Who wants to talk about Trevor Penning? This is an interesting one. Well, obviously, they have a large needed tackle. Toronto Armstead is now on Dante's Miami Dolphins, probably to his excitement.
You're welcome.
Penning is probably one of the most polarizing players in this class, if not the most polarizing player, in my opinion. He has, I think he has a ton of flaws, especially in pass protection, of how he steps in front of about how his timing with his hands for me, how he steps in front of rushers. But obviously, the thing people point to is his nasty demeanor, his aggressiveness, which has been memed to hell and back at this point. But he offers you something incredible in the run game. I think personally, this is a big. I would say it's a considerable risk for New Orleans. But if it pays off, they have a quality starting left tackle for a number of years. But if it doesn't, then they will put in the market again. But I think it had to be the right pick. I mean, they weren't going to get a starting left tackle anywhere else later in the draft. I mean, you bet on Nicholas Pettit-Freer. But I know you guys. I don't think you guys like him too very much.
Yeah,
maybe Tyler Smith.
Here's my thing with Trevor Penning. I just don't think he's that good at football. We can talk about traits. We can talk about this, that, and the other thing. And look, and Trevor Penning is huge. He's got long ass arms. He's a very good athlete. I'm not going to sit here and deny the fact that he could be a really, really good tackle at some point. He could be. So I get where the Saints are coming from. My issue is that you were betting on a player who played down at a level of competition, whose film is mid-round film, who his Senior Bowl tape, I don't understand how this happened. His Senior Bowl tape was not that good. It just was not that good. He had a couple of plays where he bullied the hell out of someone and everyone crapped their pants and sang Kumbaya. And I don't understand why that happened. He threw a defensive lineman into his quarterback's legs. He got bull rushed into oblivion by some 7th round pick out of Kansas. I really just do not understand where this, Trevor Penning being this all-world tackle came from. Now, look, he's got a lot of potential, so I get where the Saints are coming from. But for me personally, this is the worst pick of the NFL draft so far. I thoroughly believe that. I just do not understand Trevor Penning hype at all.
I mean, I completely agree. It shows on his film. In pass protection, way too often, he lets edge rushers get their hands inside of him. That does not translate to the NFL. It's a way to lose leverage very quickly. When he does land hand strikes with his hands, they're often wide of his intended target. He's erratic with his hand placement. His balance is iffy. His anchor is good. I give him that. But, I mean, I had a 3rd on him, I think. Yeah, 3rd. This is a big reach. I'm just happy the Cowboys didn't take him.
I mean,
yeah. We can move on to pick 20. I think we've said what we've had to say about Trevor Penning. Look, he's got a lot of potential. We'll get Devin's take on it eventually when he joins us. I think he's a little bit higher on this pick, so it'll be good to balance this out. A lot of potential for Penning, not someone we feel good about in the first round. Steelers on the clock here at pick 20. We heard a lot of smoke about how much they love Malik Willis. Is the first quarterback coming off the board here at pick 20?
One of the Steelers guys I follow, Dante, again, I'm sorry to steal your thunder here, because you've been announcing the picks so wonderfully tonight. But
you're good.
From Josh Carney, the Steelers are going local. It's Kenny Pickett. Potentially. All I'm gonna say is
Kenny Pickett QB1, dog. That's where we're at, man. Oh, look. I want to give the NFL credit. They held out for 20 picks.
It's official.
It is Kenny Pickett. My Sports Update has announced that Kenny Pickett is the first quarterback off the board to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is QB1 in the 2022 NFL Draft. They are staying local. Kenny Pickett will compete with Mitchell Trubisky. What do we think, guys? What do we think?
If I can put my fan blinders on for just a minute, if you will. Happy hunting, Kyle Hamilton. Brownie, take it away.
I mean, Kenny was my QB. Let's see. He was my QB too, but still a third round grade. Every QB in the first round is going to be a reach this year. The local connection makes sense, but if I'm going a first round QB, I'm betting on ceiling. And that's Malik Willis and Carson Strong if his knee checks out, to me. I mean, I don't think it's that much of an improvement over what they already have.
It's really not. I mean, for me, the way I've graded both these players, Kenny is I would have around the same range as I had Mac Jones, and Mac Jones was like in the late 80s, early 90s on my board last year. If I stacked them together, I think it's just so boring. I mean, I don't know.
Here's the thing with Pickett.
I'm at a loss for words. I don't get it.
I do not understand where your ceiling is with Kenny Pickett. And that's kind of what Browning touched on, right? Is like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have a higher grade on Malik Willis than Kenny Pickett, because I don't. If you watch their film, I think Kenny Pickett's film is a little bit better. But if you're projecting those players forward, if you're the Steelers and you just signed Mitchell Trubisky to a 2-year contract to be your bridge quarterback, let him bridge to somebody who's actually got an arm and can run around. That's my thing here, right? If this was the Saints, a team that's trying to win football games, right now that I feel a little bit better about, yeah, maybe, but I don't know how I feel about the rest of the Steelers roster. How much better is Mitchell Trubisky than Kenny Pickett? I don't know. I think you just have so many limitations with Kenny Pickett's arm strength that is really going to hurt you down the line. Like, you're in a division with Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, and you're with Kenny Pickett.
It's just like all three of those guys offer something other than just like baseline stuff. I mean, Lamar and Deshaun can create yards after with their legs. I mean, they can work out a structure beautifully, and to a degree, so can Joe Burrow in his own right. And all three of those guys can sling the football real. I mean, they have an impressive touch down the field. They can get it there on time and on target with great velocity. And then Kenny Pickett is just kind of like, he peters out like after 30 or 40 yards. Like I don't.
There was an out route that he threw against Georgia Tech, and I mean, there's a chance I could have done my taxes by the time it got there. Like I just I watched that ball go, and I just remember sitting there going, and again, like, I honestly, a part of me feels bad for crapping on Kenny Pickett so much, because I really don't think that he's like some astronomically horrible quarterback, right? Like, I really don't. Like, again, no. I crap on Mac Jones a lot. I didn't think he was as bad as that was me just being, vocal, right? Like, Kenny Pickett's a perfectly average quarterback prospect. The problem is that he went at number 20 overall, and he's the first quarterback off the board for a team that needs a quarterback. This is not a team that has a good quarterback in place. So now, why are you not betting on Malik Willis to develop? It's just weird to me. And I mean, I'd rather bet on Sam Howell. I'd rather bet on Carson Strong. I get it. Pittsburgh kid. They like the grit, I'm sure. Kenny Pickett's a lunch pail guy, I imagine. But, man. All right. Kenny Pickett off the board. So the first quarterback is gone. Speaking of Mac Jones, his team is coming up on the clock here at pick 21. The New England Patriots will be picking here. Where do you think they go at 21? There are some interesting options for them. They have a little bit more holes than they usually do.
I have a dark horse.
Let's hear it.
Trent McDuffie.
Oh,
I like that.
You know what? No, I don't think that's as much of a dark horse as you think, Browning, because like all the receivers are gone, and that's where even though they traded for Devontae Parker, I don't think he gets you over the hump at receiver. I think they might have to swing for a cornerback with J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore being gone.
And we have a trade. The Patriots are moving back. There is no indication on who that is with just yet.
Interesting.
Might be rolling in a second. I'm literally just clicking refresh. That is reported by Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. So the Patriots moving out here. Guess they wanted to take Kenny Pickett. They're moving out. So we got another trade. We've had a surprising amount of trades. Maybe I thought there'd be a couple, but maybe not this much volume on those trades, but we've seen a lot, especially recently.
Yeah. I know what we said earlier, we expected more in the top 10. But granted, last year the big trades started to roll off in the teens. So I can't say I'm too shocked, but no, like I never expected them to be this crazy. I mean, I expected some movement up and down the draft board, but like nothing at this level where players just getting dealt like for willy-nilly.
Can someone be coming up for Jermaine Johnson?
Maybe. I mean, I'm pretty surprised that he's fallen this far. I'll be interested to see who comes up. Obviously, trading up in front of Baltimore and Green Bay, two teams in the edge market potentially for Jermaine Johnson. Still no confirmation on who that trade is with.
Yeah,
unless you guys see it and I do not. I have nothing.
It's the Chiefs.
It's the Chiefs coming up, yes, at pick 21.
Okay, guys, I'm mistaking we know who this is going to be. It's going to be Jermaine Johnson. The Chiefs need pass rush help like they need water. Frank Clark has not performed well since he's been there. Mike Dana is a rotational guy at best. Jermaine Johnson, it gives you incredible upside as a pass rusher on the edge. He can really turn a corner against AFC offensive tackles. I think it makes perfect sense. They want to leapfrog Baltimore because Baltimore in all likelihood might have taken Johnson or might be taking Johnson at 23. But
yeah, I think Johnson seems to be the consensus best player left on the board. Obviously, the Chiefs got a ton of picks from the Miami Dolphins and the Tyreek Hill trade, so they had ammo to burn. Patriots are always a trade back team. They just announced the trade on ESPN. The Chiefs are on the clock. I do not have compensation yet, so we'll have to wait on that. Kenny Pickett's going to be 24 before he takes an NFL snap.
That's funny.
Jeez, man.
He was a Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award winner, Dante.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares? I'm sorry, man. We've been on stream for 2.5 hours. I'm starting to lose my filter. I really do feel bad crapping on Kenny Pickett because he's a good kid. He's got a good story, but geez, man, I don't understand that at all.
We have compensation.
Let's hear it.
24, 94, and 121 for 21.
24, 94, 121. So that is a third and a fourth to move up 3 spots here, Kansas City and New England executing that trade. Who do you think they're coming up for, guys, besides Jermaine Johnson? Nick just looks like he got the pick in, so let's hear it from Nick.
From our friend Jordan Schultz again. This is interesting. The Kansas City Chiefs are taking Washington cornerback Trent McDuffie.
Look at that. Trent McDuffie off the board, zone corner from Washington. They have produced some pretty good corners in the past, Byron Murphy amongst them. What do you guys think about the Chiefs trading up for Trent McDuffie?
I'm glad that they did it. If they weren't going to go edge rusher, they haven't had a really good corner in quite a long time. I mean, I think they're fielding, who is it, like L'Jarius Sneed, Rashad Fenton right now. To me, you can't. That's not sustainable, especially with the way the offenses in the AFC are shifting. I McDuffie can play inside, outside. I think he has good hands jamming receivers at the line. Can really channel those route stems. And like I said, it's just an overall good pick for Kansas City. It's a smart thing to do. I don't blame them. I don't blame them for moving up. They still have their other first round pick, correct?
Yeah, they do. They still have their other first rounder that they got in the Tyreek Hill trade. And
so I got the right player, the wrong team.
Yes, you did get the right player for the wrong team. Trent McDuffie, a zone corner, which I think is interesting going to the Chiefs. I don't know how much zone they play under Steve Spagnuolo. But McDuffie, I really like him. I think like technician type corner. He reminds me a lot of Byron Murphy, just that kind of smaller guy, but he's just really, really solid for you. I like that a lot for the Kansas City Chiefs. I've really wanted them to invest in DB the past couple of years, so it's nice to see them actually do it.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't punt it for another year. I mean, that they needed to. Even like getting DeAndre Baker and Mike Hughes didn't do anything for them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, oh man, remember DeAndre Baker.
So remember Mike Hughes.
Patriots got 29, by the way. So the Patriots are actually moving back 8 spots. So they're moving back to 29, the Patriots. Okay. Chiefs coming up 8 spots for Trent McDuffie. That is another hit for me in my mock draft 3.0. I kind of stopped counting how many I had. I think that's my third one. Someone in the chat asking us if this is our longest stream yet. No, because we did this last year. So we are
running all day 3 last year.
And we went all day 3 last year. I thought I was gonna I thought my voice was gonna get out of my throat and run away when we were done. It was a stretch. We're not gonna do it this year. I think we're just gonna do rounds 4 and 5 this year. For the couple of you guys who have stuck around with us all night. We really appreciate you. Obviously, the listeners and the viewers, we're so thankful that you've decided to hang out with us tonight. Trying to give you the most informed draft takes that we can, the crazy live reactions. Trent McDuffie pick just announced that puts the Green Bay Packers on the clock at pick 22. They're under 6 minutes already. Browning, you have something you want to say?
I just got a feel for my Washington insider, Roman Thomasoff. He had New England, his favorite team, ready there with Trent McDuffie, his CB1, and the Chiefs came up and took him from him.
Pour one out for our guy. Friend of the show, Roman Tomanosh. Yeah, definitely a friend of the show. What do we think the Packers do here at 22? Again, we've talked about Jermaine Johnson falling. That's an edge that they could really need. George Karlaftis is a player who's picked up some steam.
Devontae Wyatt
could be interesting. Yes, for sure.
Especially how we've heard he might fall due to that whole breakout age thing and apparent off-field concerns.
Yes, he was arrested at Georgia. I believe it was a domestic violence incident, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he kicked down the door of his girlfriend's or something like that.
Yeah, never put his hands on her, if I remember correctly. That is correct.
Man, there are a lot of good players left. Like Karlaftis, obviously Linderbaum, Booth, Elam, Lloyd, Jermaine, Daxton Hill.
I agree. And that Packers pick is in, so we're just waiting on a tip here.
No linebackers yet.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I figured they'd be back end of the first round, guys. That one not too surprising to me. I like Devin Lloyd, but I don't think he was going to be a top 20 guy. Packers select the first linebacker is off the board, and it is not who you think it is. It is Quay Walker, linebacker out of Georgia.
There we go.
Pick 22. Walker, a late riser from the University of Georgia. So late of a riser, he did not make my final big board, and I actually just watched him 2 days ago. So that's how much of a late riser Quay Walker is going in the first round. Who wants to talk about the Georgia linebacker going to the Packers?
I'm trying to find him on the big board so I can cross his name out.
I don't even have him on the big board. I watched him 2 days ago. Crazy.
Brownie, you want to take this one?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me pull him up.
I can talk about Walker generally. Big-time athlete, a little bit raw. I think you're probably looking to develop him. The Packers did need some speed on the second level. I'm assuming Aaron Rodgers is punching air in Cancun or wherever the hell he is right now. Quay Walker, what do we got?
He's a fluid mover in space, very good athlete, 9.66 on his RAS, has good range, very high processor, finds the ball quickly and fills in gaps well. Decent coverage, has good spatial awareness. Let's see. He can sometimes over pursue when he's tackling and fail to break down. Can struggle a bit with deconstructing blocks and space. When blitzing, he timed his rushes really well, has good closing speed. Doesn't attack with the most power or have a ton of pass rush moves in his arsenal. Navigates the box well. I mean, at the worst, he can be a coverage backer off the bat, but I think he's a 2-down player, potentially 3-down player off the bat.
Yeah, my problem is drafting linebackers high with bad eyes. I don't like linebackers with bad eyes, and I think Quay Walker has bad eyes, and that worries me. I like guys who can run. I agree with you, Browning. I think you get a good athlete there. On the second level, Packers were in a tough spot, man, because all the receivers off the board, right? A popular pick for them was
a trade.
Oh, a trade.
They did
Look
it
at
again.
that.
Buffalo's coming up.
Buffalo's coming up. So the Ravens trading back. Who'd they trade? Lamar Jackson this time?
I hate you. I'm leaving. I'm going to work. What?
So it looks like the compensation for the Ravens they're going to get 130 alongside that pick swap.
Interesting.
So the Ravens moving back 2 spots to 25, Buffalo coming up here to 23 in exchange for pick 130. So we have a swap of first rounders. I'm watching Quay Walker highlights, and they are showing a play that I really do not think shows that he's a good football player. But Buffalo coming up here 2 spots. Who do we like? Is this Jermaine Johnson? Is this finally stop his fall? We think so.
How though?
We got to give a shout out to the Packers taking a linebacker for our friend Zach Rogers across the pond.
Oh, is he awake right now?
He is not.
He's not awake right now.
It's equivalent of the running back of the defense.
Wow. Yeah, he's gonna wake up and burn his shepherd's pie or something. That's, man, pour one out for Zach Rogers.
Hey, Brian, I got a question. If this isn't Jermaine Johnson, do you think it's the Cowboys that take Jermaine?
I think it's becoming a prime trade back spot for the Cowboys, which is what I've been wanting.
Really? Even with Jermaine there?
With Jermaine there, I don't know if they've done their homework on him. He wasn't a 30 visit. I'm not sure they expected him to be there. So it could be a BPA like it was with Parsons, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them trade back.
My sleeper pick here for Buffalo is Andrew Booth.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I really like his fit in their scheme, and they need another corner. I think him and Trey White would be phenomenal. That's my sleeper pick if this is not Jermaine Johnson.
Could we see a running back?
Oh, it is a cornerback, but not the one that I said it was going to be. But I'll take it. Kaiir Elam, cornerback from Florida, is the selection per Jordan Schultz, who's been good tonight. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt this time. Kaiir Elam, the cornerback from Florida, who wants to take this one, going to the Bills. They trade up. They give up a 4th rounder to come up 2 spots in the late half of the 1st round. Don't really think that's anything crazy. What do we got on Elam?
Elam was my 4th corner, like behind Andrew Booth. First game I turned on his was Alabama, where I saw multiple plays in that game where he got real close in space on Jamison Williams, managed to swat the ball away, really showed off his impressive ball skills at the catch point. I think it's a great pick for Buffalo. It's not a running back, thank God. Because I know I've heard people, especially in the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, them having people on saying, "Oh, Buffalo could go running back." But no, Trey White coming off kind of a massive injury. They needed a cornerback too, anyway. I think honestly a duo of White and Elam could be frightening, going forward, because like Elam is he's so impressive as a at the catch point. I think having that ability to mirror match with receivers. I think he's gonna be. I think he could be special for Buffalo.
I agree. I like this a lot. Top 20 player for me, Kaiir Elam. Everything that you want in a press man corner in today's NFL, Kaiir Elam has. Length, size, man-to-man skills, ball skills. He's a little bit inconsistent sometimes with his technique, but that's kind of the trade-off that you have to make for a player who takes as many chances as he does on the ball. Browning, I want to move on to your Cowboys, who are picking here at 24. What do you want them to do if they stay? Because I know you just said you'd like them to trade back. If they stay, who do you want them to take?
Assuming Baltimore doesn't go Jermaine Johnson before us, he's not a bad option. Karlaftis is another not a bad option. It's not going to be Tyler Smith. I'm fairly confident in that. I would love Tyler Linderbaum. I don't think they love him. And I think he could slide into round 2. Receiver, they're fairly wiped out, but maybe they like George Pickens. He wasn't a 30 visit, so I'm not sure. But with the loss of Amari Cooper and only adding James Washington, there's still a glaring hole there.
Interesting. Yeah, the buzz on the Jermaine Johnson slide is apparently starting to pick up a little bit of steam. People were not expecting him to fall, even in the insider community, which is interesting. The Bills announcing their pick of Kaiir Elam. Dallas coming up next at pick 24, followed by Baltimore at 25. I am very excited to see our resident Cowboys fan reaction to all of this.
And I just messed up. I forgot Baltimore traded Buffalo. So Jermaine Johnson could be in play.
Yeah. Jermaine Johnson would be on the board here for the Cowboys if they wanted to take him. I feel like it's a pretty good pick, honestly. I think if you're Dallas, you're happy with that. I think this is more of where I would be personally comfortable investing in a player like Jermaine Johnson. Outside the top 20, I think you get a starting quality edge rusher there.
I think they're really banking on Zion or Kenyan being there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're fielding calls right now.
Yeah, me neither. I wouldn't be either. I think that they were pretty high on those interior guys who went. I think Kenyon went way higher probably than they were expecting. And then I think Zion, one of those guys were going to go. I'd love to see them take Linderbaum too. Linderbaum is one of my favorite players in this entire class. I absolutely love Tyler Linderbaum. I'd love to see him take them.
Well, let me ask you this, Brandon. How much do they value Tyler Biadasz?
They view him as very replaceable.
Okay, so this could very well be Linderbaum.
I don't think they love his measurables.
Really?
Yeah, I mean everything I've heard, I'm not sure if they didn't think he would be there, so they didn't bring him in. But there hasn't been any interest from Dallas.
Okay.
Is Elam the first player to get picked who's not in the green room?
I think so.
No, Javon Walker wasn't there. He was at home.
Oh, he was at home, yeah.
Well, he would have got the invite, so I don't know if that counts.
Dotson?
Dotson wasn't there. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. All right, well, Dallas officially on the clock. Their timer is ticking at 24. We'll get to see a Dallas fan's reaction to the pick here. A.J. Brown's contract still getting confirmed through. It looks like those numbers are holding up through multiple insiders. $100 million, $57 million guaranteed. His agent also represents DK Metcalf and Deebo Samuel per Jordan Schultz, who seems to be our favorite insider tonight.
He hasn't let us down yet.
He has not let us down yet, and usually he's terrible. So this is a good start for him. No, he's just some things that he tweets out. It's just mind-boggling to me. Hoping to get
Jerry
Devin.
is talking to someone on the phone right now.
I would hope so. I would hope so. He is on the clock.
Big if true.
I like to think that maybe he's just like ordering a pizza. You know,
You think he's a Papa?
Baby?
I was going to say, do you think Jerry's a Papa John's or a Domino's man or a Pizza Hut?
Pretty sure Dallas Cowboys is sponsored by Papa John's. So
yeah, I mean, I know the NFL was sponsored by Papa John's for a while because they were in every freaking stadium, and I hate Papa John's.
I'm pretty sure Jerry's done commercials with Papa John himself.
Well, that explains a lot, honestly. That really
problematic.
does explain why the Cowboys choke every year. I think we finally found the underlying problem very clearly. This is a video for kids, Browning. Don't flip me off.
Yeah, okay.
God damn it! You know, my Christian eyes can't handle that.
Yeah. Gonna burn. What if this is Tyler Smith, Browning?
Yeah, I might not come back from a second heart attack.
Oh man, don't do that. I can't watch someone down. That'll officially curse this stream for all right.
Pretty sure we'll get our YouTube channel removed.
Probably if somebody dies on stream, yeah, probably. I think.
Steven looks very giddy, which has me nervous.
Oh god, so what is about to be Bernard Raymond then?
God damn it.
Go on,
What if it's like David Ojabo?
I would like that.
That would be interesting. Just another edge name. We're really just throwing edge names at the board. It's been a crazy night. Just to recap, I mean, as we're killing time here waiting for that Dallas pick to come in, we saw Hollywood Brown go for the 23rd pick. We saw A.J. Brown get traded to the Eagles for pick number 18, all in the span of 5 receivers going in the top 16 picks of this draft. Kenny Pickett is the first quarterback off the board with the 20th overall pick. Been an interesting night. We saw a run on defensive players. The first, 5 guys off the board were defenders, I believe, 3 edge rushers and 2 corners. It's been a very, very weird night. Things have certainly spiraled out of control, but it seems like we're starting to get a little bit more into the groove of things. We had a minor trade up the pick before this, with Buffalo taking Kaiir Elam. Top players on the board for us as they go inside the Dallas War Room. I'm not going to say that on stream, but there are some interesting smiles happening.
Oh, goodness.
Top players on the board include edge rusher Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher George Karlaftis, Devin Lloyd. They're just showing in the green room right now. Probably not going to be a target here for Dallas, but he's still on the board. Still have some safeties. Dax Hill, Lewis Seen still on the board. Dallas wants to go interior O-line. Oh, it's in, and it is Tulsa offensive tackle Tyler Smith, the only player that Tyler Browning did not want the Cowboys to take, is the selection at pick 20.
Oh, my goodness.
Tulsa offensive tackle Tyler Smith.
So,
Tyler Browning, I need a reaction. Take yourself off of mute. You have to talk to us. You're not dead. I can see you.
You're moving.
Fuck my team, man.
Yes.
Oh, man. All right. Well, Browning, you got to tell us, why do you hate this pick?
Give me 1 second. Let me get it up.
Man, Tyler Smith off the board. Another late riser. Before Browning goes, I'll actually let Nick talk about him first, just so we have a little bit of juxtaposition, because Nick really likes Tyler Smith, actually. He's our AAC scout, and he gave him a pretty high grade, if I remember correctly.
Yes. All right. So I was already pretty high on Tyler Smith in the summer, giving him a flat 80 out of 100, which is a second round grade for us. But then for his final, it's got an 85, which he could have been pushed to a first round grade if I felt like it. Now I would have been justified. So Smith, I'll let people protect him inside as a guard. I think he could thrive there, but he also has a bit more upside as a tackle. There's a lot of things on his film, with most notably timing. I think he struggles with timing quite a bit. Getting his hands set right on defensive ends, getting placement down. But the beauty about him though is, as I pull up my scouting report, he plays with great lower power, great lower half power. He's a very good initiator in the run game. I think if you're trying to get Zeke Elliott back on track, you could do a lot worse at the position. I will say though, and I'm sure Browning knows this just as well as I do, that this is a very much a boomer bust pick. He is very young. He is very young. So you're hoping that youth and athleticism kind of help translate to future success. But I understand where Browning's trepidation is coming from and why he fears this pick and why he's probably upset. Trust me, I sympathize with him. But I'm very confident in Tyler Smith and what he can bring at the next level. But we'll see. Browning, if you have any thoughts of your own.
Some of my notes, he plays with nasty demeanor, but in pass protection, he's a catcher rather than an attacker. You would much rather the pass rusher initiate contact than him actually start it. His hand placement is wide. Arm length is not great, so maybe he's a better guard. His anchor was adequate at best, in my opinion. His run blocking was fairly good, able to reach second level. His kick slide needed some work. It was not good. Did not get enough torque. Failed to get depth a lot of times. Really struggled against speedy and bendy edge rushers.
Yeah, one of the games he struggled the most on, and he was flagged quite a bit, was Oklahoma State. There was quite a number of holes where he really was able to step up and match stride for stride with the edge rusher. I think it was Brock Martin he struggled against, who's a guy I'm definitely going to watch plenty of next year. So, I mean, like I said, Brian, I get it. Like he could very well like not play in a couple years. I'm sorry to be doom and gloom with it, but I mean, like, how and Dante probably knows too how much of a boom and bust Tyler Smith is. But I think I have a bit more confidence in him. Maybe it's a little biased because he was my guy for a whole year, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Jermaine Johnson.
Jermaine Johnson is still on the board here, and I was going to pivot to the Ravens because Nick is a Ravens fan. Now, he was happy with the Kyle Hamilton pick. I don't know, Browning. Maybe you get some revenge here and the Ravens do something dumb. But they've already had a pretty good night. They got a free first-round pick for Hollywood Brown. Not free, technically. And they take Kyle Hamilton. Nick, what do you want them to do here at 25? You talked about wanting them to take Jermaine Johnson at pick 14. Is that still the direction you think they should go?
Dante, this is unequivocally yes. This needs to be Jermaine. If not him, I'd accept Karlaftis. I like Karlaftis quite a bit. I probably want to hire people on Karlaftis. He's a firm first-round edge for me. I
like Karlaftis a lot too.
I understand Ojabo, but I think I don't know. Maybe perhaps Baltimore wants someone who could play, right away. Andrew Booth would be interesting, but there's a kind of that injury concern with him, and Baltimore's just had come with a rash of injuries with their secondary. Sleeper is Devin Lloyd. They re-signed Josh Bynes, but I think but Malik Harrison really hasn't panned out the way they'd like. So maybe they're looking for somebody to potentially get a more high ceiling guy, high floor player. I mean, to pair with Patrick Queen, and then maybe Devontae Wyatt. I don't know. Or they could stun us all and just go receiver here.
Oh my God. Who would that be? Christian Watson for you or Sky Moore?
I hope it's Sky Moore personally because I'm a big Sky Moore fan.
That would be fun. I like Sky Moore a lot too. Top 50 player for me. I like Andrew Booth here. I like to see them go and get another corner. Got a lot of injuries at that spot the past couple of years. Booth would definitely be like BPA for me. Here at 25, as we're approaching under 4 minutes for this Ravens pick, as we are heading towards the end of day one. We're getting into the last half of the draft here. It has been a very interesting day, shaping up for a very interesting day two. We'll be on stream again tomorrow as well. There's only a couple of you watching, but we'd encourage you to stick by tomorrow. We'll be doing the same thing. I'll be joined by Nick Price. Mike Hernishin will be joining our coverage, as well as Andrew Harbaugh, to talk about day two players between Andrew, Nick, and Mike. I mean, that is probably 600 scouting reports filed for this draft. So we'll have a ton of knowledge on for tomorrow's show as well. I'm really looking forward to that. Those guys are awesome. And Nick's going to be with me all 3 days. So me and Nick are doing the trifecta. But we are waiting here for Nick's favorite team to make a pick. Ravens approaching under 3 minutes on the clock. I do not have a pick tip yet.
I'm not looking at my phone. I'm going to wait for you to tell me because
You don't want to know? You want me to tell you?
I don't want to know. The most ironic thing is this will be Christian Watson because I'm notably the lowest person on Christian Watson, and it's because like I don't trust the drops.
That's fair. Watson's a weird one where it's like, I get it. And, I think he ended up being like just outside my top 30. He's like 32 or 31 for me. So this wouldn't be a terrible reach for Baltimore here. But, man, I just don't think you see guys who are that big, that athletic at wide receiver that often. You know what I mean? Like, that's just so intriguing to me, especially in a market where, I mean, good Lord, you got to pay an arm and a leg for a wide receiver these days.
It's just
unless you're the Cowboys trading Amari Cooper. So
it's just like Baltimore has never had much luck with receiver. I mean, Hollywood looked like he was trending in the right direction. The best receiver they ever drafted was Torrey Smith. I'm hoping Rashad Bateman becomes what everybody thinks he can be.
This is not what I was expecting at all, but I absolutely love it. One of my favorite players in the draft off the board, Iowa center Tyler Linderbaum.
Yes!
To the Baltimore Ravens at pick
I'll take it.
25
I'll take
Jordan Schultz. So again, we'll wait on confirmation from somebody else if we want, but Tyler Linderbaum is the selection. One of my favorite players in the entire class. Linderbaum was a player, I'm going to say discovered in air quotes because I was not first, but I've been on him since before the 2020 season. That is 3 years I've been on Tyler Linderbaum. He is an absolute stalwart in the middle, smooth pass protector, really, really good athlete, pulls out into space, makes a lot of really, really good blocks. He's got a surprising amount of power despite being undersized. I think he's a better version of Garrett Bradbury, who went in the first round of the Minnesota Vikings. Nick, I'll let you take over for your favorite team here. Tyler Linderbaum at pick 25.
So for all the people who said Tyler Linderbaum would never go to the Ravens because he's not a scheme fit, they're dead wrong, obviously. Linderbaum, a lot of the knocks people want to point to is his lack of size, being a smaller center, which and that's somebody that the Ravens typically never covet. But regardless of which, really good at pass protection. I say he has probably the best awareness of any offensive lineman in this class. I think he mirrors and matches real well with interior rushes. Has good feet, run game. I think he obviously you point to the speed up to the second level. He knows how to get in front of. He knows how to he has enough flexibility to get in front of defenders, really turn around and reach block linebackers out of the way to create holes in the run game. I mean, he's granted. They just showed him on TV. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, I think if Baltimore's run game really struggled last year, most of it was due to injuries, especially to the running back room. I think if they want to establish the run better, kind of help Lamar out as he's coming back from injury and make life easier for Gus Edwards. What's up?
Yes, the Jets are now on the clock. Moving up with the Titans, who picked Treylon Burks earlier. The Jets are coming up. The Jets had a couple of second-round picks to mortgage in a trade. I do not have compensation yet. It seems like we're all happy about that Tyler Linderbaum pick. So
I'm not. Fuck.
Well,
he went right after the Cowboys. A top 10 player on my board. You gotta be shitting me.
Man. Took us long enough to get to the good stuff. Tyler Browning has exited the stream.
He's done. He's done. He's going to start drinking.
Yeah, he's taking it. He's got to get another beer. All right, Nick, talk to me here. Jets on the clock. Who do you think they're coming up for?
Jermaine.
You think it's Jermaine?
It has to be Jermaine.
That would make a lot of sense. I mean, if the Jets get out of here with Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, and Garrett Wilson, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, especially Jermaine being the guy who goes at 26. I mean, that's really good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they've crushed it. I mean, that's. I didn't think that was possible for them to potentially get all three of these guys in one crack, but. Also, I hate to pivot back to the Ravens and be a homer, but I swear to God, those Ravens fans just pissing and moaning about this. It's so infuriating.
Yeah, Lamar is not happy. Lamar tweeted a WTF about a minute ago. Compensation on that trade. the Jets are trading 35, 69, and 163 to the Titans in exchange for 26 and 101. So that is going to be a second, a third, and a fourth round pick, I believe, going to the Titans to move up from 35 to 26. So the Titans are trading back out of the first round here. They'll pick in the second round with their next selection. So the Jets coming up here, we think it's for Jermaine Johnson. Anyone else? And
Jermaine.
Yep, it is Jermaine Johnson
Good.
for Ian Rappaport,
Good.
right as I was about to ask you guys. So Nick talked about it a little bit. I mean, look, I think the Jets maybe got off to a bit of a weird start taking Sauce Gardner at 4, but Jermaine Johnson falls pretty far. I think, you know what? They ended up sticking the landing quite well.
Oh, definitely. What's the chances that all three of these first round picks hit? Or I know like law of averages speaks that somebody has to fail, but like I can't picture an outcome where like Sauce, Garrett Wilson, and Jermaine don't pan out.
Yeah, at least as like quality players, right? Maybe they're not stars, maybe they're not, really, really good players, but I agree. I think they took 3, honestly, like safe players. You know what I mean? Like I like a Gardner, maybe a tiny reach at 4, but I don't think that he's going to turn out to be a bust. I'd be shocked with the way that Garrett Wilson separates if he ends up being a bust as well. And then like, this is a good spot for Jermaine Johnson. This is the type of player that I think should go at the back end of the first round. So I agree, man. I think the Jets really stuck the landing. Tyler Browning, have you recovered from your Cowboys and you want to give some thoughts on Jermaine Johnson here?
I mean, I'm probably the lowest on Jermaine Johnson here. He got a mid to high 2 for me, but I still like what he can do. He put on a good show at the Senior Bowl. I'm going to pull up my report here. He can bend the edge. He likes to stack and shed blocks. Has active hands, working to disengage from the blocker. Has a cross chop, swipe, long arm. He has a good amount of pass rush moves as a whole. Able to gain leverage. Very good lateral mover. Run defense is where I think he could stand to improve. He doesn't have the best anchor, but he's able to use his arm length to help make up for that. Good straight line speed, good burst. He's more of a finesse rusher than a power rusher in my book. Could stand to gain heavier hands, but he's a versatile rusher. I don't hate the pick whatsoever.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's like a solid like B+, just a really solid selection that makes sense. You can kind of, look, the Jets haven't had a really, really good pass rusher in a long time. And if Jermaine Johnson gives them 8.5 sacks per game for the next X amount of years, I think that is going to be very good. And we got another trade, another team coming back up who picked pretty high. The Jacksonville Jaguars are moving up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Jaguars coming back into the first round after picking at number 1 overall. They took Javon Walker. Tampa Bay moving out of the first round to collect some more capital. So we got back-to-back trade-ups here. What do we think Jacksonville is thinking moving back up here at pick 27?
Safety, perhaps?
I'd like to see them go that route. Man, if they leave this draft with Javon Walker and Christian Watson, I think my head will explode. I really just think that that's like a Trent Baalke special right there, man. Wow. We'll see, but I mean, safety. See, I want it to be safety because I think Daxell's very good.
Right.
Need help on offense, though. I mean, you got to do something for Trevor Lawrence, but I don't know. What do we think? What do we think, guys?
Well, I mean, receiver-wise, like it could be Sky Moore. You said Christian Watson. I don't think there's an offensive lineman here.
27, man.
Like I don't think there's an offensive.
Could be. I would hate that. That would be near BPA for me.
It's something dumb like Cam Jurgens.
Oh my God. We did get compensation.
At least they'll get their own beef jerky.
That's
true.
true.
Yeah,
That's
a
worth a
fair
pick
trade.
right there. Jacksonville gets pick 27. Tampa Bay will make the first pick tomorrow night. They get pick 33, 106, and 180. So that's a comp pick third and then a fourth rounder at 180. Tampa Bay will make the first pick of the second round tomorrow night. So Jacksonville moving back in here. Andrew Booth is an option. We talked about the receivers. Man, offensive line. I mean, maybe this is Bernard Raymond. I hope not.
Oh my goodness. Please. Oh God, don't speak that to existence, Dante.
I'm just trying to spitball here. I don't know. I can't imagine unless this is Dak Hill or Andrew Booth. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be a fan of this pick. I really don't. I'm like racking my brain for names here. And I mean, if they trade back, what are they going to trade back into the first round for Devin Lloyd? Like, I don't know.
That's some Sonny Weaver stuff right there.
Oh God. Here's a fun fact for you. I've never seen Draft Day all the way through.
Sir.
What the hell, man?
Not a single time.
Nick and I think watched it 5 times this week.
I've never seen it all the way through.
And I thought you were my friend.
Look, I'm sorry. I just cannot make it through that movie. It just makes me so upset.
I mean, okay.
Every time I watch it, it makes me irrationally angry. And I just have not been able to get through it.
I mean, it's objectively a bad movie, but it's also a masterpiece in its own right.
It's a masterpiece of awful. Oh my God. They traded back into the first round for Devin Lloyd. Jaguars take Utah linebacker Devin Lloyd at number 27 overall after trading with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jaguars are going to leave the first round with Javon Walker and Devin Lloyd. I like Devin Lloyd. I think he's a solid player. I just think the Jaguars have bigger fish to fry. What do you guys think about this pick here? Jaguars giving up a second, third, and fourth to select Devin Lloyd at 27.
I mean, we talked about it earlier. Like, the only real players that were worth it in our eyes were like Andrew Booth and Dax Hill. The Jaguars have plenty of needs, and they're going for a linebacker. I don't get the trade up for him at all, really.
Me neither. I really just think you have bigger fish to fry. And I really want the Jaguars to be good. I really like Trevor Lawrence. There's a lot of other players on that roster that I think are pretty solid young pieces that they have. But this, to me, feels like a draft that might come back to haunt them sooner than later.
I mean, they gave up a lot to I mean, at least in my opinion. I don't like it.
Me neither.
And Nick, your Baltimore Ravens accidentally showed their big board on screen.
I know, I saw it. I was reading.
Oh, let's hear some names. Who'd they have? Come on, read them off.
Well, oh shit. Oh, they deleted you bunch of ass hats. Wait, never mind.
I'm sure somebody screenshotted it. Yeah, somebody screenshotted it.
I thought I saw Trey Turner towards the bottom. That's fun.
Interesting. Yeah,
it's fun. I like Trey. He disappointed me, but this season I like him.
I think I see a Roy Lopez, whoever that is, offensive tackle.
But he was drafted last year. That's a Texans player.
Why is he on their board?
I don't know. Maybe it was just a board from last year. I was thinking. I don't know. That's weird.
Tyler Linderbaum's in the screen grab.
Well, I'm blind, so like
everything else is blurry.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, it happens every year. Someone always gives up their selection. I guess we can move on here to pick 28 now that the Devin Lloyd madness is over. Green Bay Packers back on the clock here at 28.
Oh, God.
What do we think they do here at 28?
Right quick, Browning, did you see Taco's tweet?
No, what'd he say?
He says, so whose pick was this?
Ah,
Yeah, anyway, continue.
Stevens.
we think this is Stevens' pick.
Yeah.
Well, the Packers back on the board here at 28. They went with Quay Walker at pick 22, a linebacker. They still need receiver, edge still on the board for them as well. Maybe this is where George Karlaftis comes off the board, a player that I am significantly higher on than consensus. They're showing Daxon Hill right now at his home. I could see him maybe coming off the board here. That could be pretty fun in Green Bay. What are some names you guys like here? Pick 28 as we come to the last 5 or so picks of this draft.
Christian Watson wouldn't surprise me, but Devontae Wyatt wouldn't either.
No. I also think this is where Logan Hall could come off the board. 5 tech. I mocked him there to Green Bay in my mock draft, so like I kind of need this to work out for me. But I feel like he's the kind of player that covet big 5 technique and rush the passer pretty well, but despite having some limitations and is already a pretty good run defender.
Yeah, no, I think that could be interesting. I mean, the Packers are a really weird team. Devontae Adams leaving. I mean, I don't know how you replace a player that good, no matter who you take here. I mean, even if you take a Christian Watson, I mean, how much does he help you early right now? I mean, you're in win now mode,
Excuse me.
I can't believe Ravens fans are mad about the Linderbaum pick, and traded away Hollywood. Like,
well, who was the Ravens center?
It was going to be either Patrick McCary or Tristan Colon Castillo.
Who?
Colon Castillo was the Missouri center a couple years ago. I think he was like a 20.
Oh, I remember him. Okay, yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, no. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. Oh, Mr. Browning is going to be happy about this selection. It is one of his favorite players in the class. Devontae Wyatt off the board at pick 28 to the Green Bay Packers. Browning, I'll let you take this. You've been on Wyatt since, God, it feels like forever now.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years. He was my interior defensive lineman 1. I think he has the flexibility to play 1 or 3 tech. I like him better at 3 because of his pass rushing upside. He doesn't necessarily have his refined plan, but he strings and moves together well. He's a very good gap shooter, and he keeps his pads fairly low, helping him establish leverage. He can eat up double teams in the run game and still disengage to make the tackle. He's good at anchoring in against the run while maintaining his leverage. He's played 0 tech all the way to 5 tech. Attacks with good power. Not elite, but it's good. Capable 2-gapper. Good hip flexibility for interior defensive linemen. He scored a very high second-round grade for me. I loved his film. Been high on him for 2 years now. Was super excited to see him get the Senior Bowl invite. And super excited to see him go here in the first.
Yeah. Well, you called it before the pick. Wyatt, you're IDL 1. You were one of the few people who stuck with that through the entire process. Kudos to you. Wyatt, obviously a really good 3-gap shooter, another Georgia defender off the board. I believe that is the 4th Georgia defender off the board, if I'm not mistaken. 2 defensive linemen, a linebacker, and an edge rusher, if I'm correct.
So is this New England or Kansas City on the clock now?
This is New England. They traded with Kansas City. Kansas City will pick at 30. So pick 29 coming up next is the New England Patriots. We can pivot to that since we've already announced Devontae Wyatt as the selection. New England traded back with the Chiefs, who moved up to get Trent McDuffie out of Washington, one of 9 trades that has taken place in the first round tonight, which is, I mean, a lot. 2 of them being for pretty good wide receivers in Hollywood Brown and A.J. Brown. Who do we like here at 29 for the Patriots? We've talked about wide receiver. They're another team that could use an offensive lineman. Maybe they get a corner in Andrew Booth. Dax Hill still on the board at 29. Who do we like here, guys?
Real quick, I think the next 2 picks become prime trade back candidates for someone wanting to come up for a QB.
Yes, that is the elephant in the room. Are we really going to get out of this first round with only one quarterback off the board? I don't know when the last time that happened was. I really don't.
We need the dinosaur Forno on stream to tell us.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know. I have to go to work tomorrow. That's a shame.
Let's see. New England.
Okay, so the last time it happened was 2013. Buffalo took EJ Manuel at number 16. So it's been almost 10 years since we've had only one quarterback go in the first round. And Manuel went higher than Kenny Pickett went this year, which is incredibly interesting. We know what Green Bay's pick is. The Patriots are not going to take a quarterback, but like Tyler Browning just said, could get a trade back here, someone trying to climb up into that first round. Our good friend Tyler Fornes is manifesting Malik Willis at 32. I'm trying to drag him down by manifesting Desmond Ridder. And again, 2013, the last time. Thank you, Google, and also Mike Kernishin, who DM'd me to tell me that right as I Googled it. So we got some good people working on the show tonight.
Real quick, someone who'd be a super New England pick is George Karlaftis.
Oh, of course.
That would serve me right, frankly, for getting up this morning. You know, that's what I get. One of my favorite players goes to the Patriots. You know, that's I earned that one just by existing today, frankly.
That's terrible, Dante.
Yeah, we're still waiting on. I'm reading reactions to Aaron Rodgers being on the Pat McAfee show live, watching the Packers pick. But we are still waiting on them to announce that Packers selection and even put the Patriots on the clock. But we are winding down in what has been, I mean, just an incredibly, incredibly weird draft again. Just, oh my God. Nobody look. I want real reactions. The Green Bay Packers are reportedly drafting Cole Strange from Chattanooga at pick 29, the interior offensive lineman from Chattanooga who had a standout performance at the Senior Bowl is going with the 29th pick to the New England Patriots after a trade back with the Kansas City Chiefs. Strange was a consistent mid-rounder. He had been on the board in the 4th round of a lot of mock drafts. Cole Strange from Chattanooga.
I'm sorry, this is the most least.
What the fuck just happened?
Cole Strange.
What?
Coming off the board, I liked Cole Strange. I had a 3rd round grade on this player out of Chattanooga.
And there's Devin.
And Devin Jackson joins us as the craziest pick of the night just came in. Chattanooga guard Cole Strange off the board at number 29 to the New England Patriots. Devin, what's going on, my man?
What's up, man? They got a little crazy there for about an hour, but yeah, back to kind of finish it off with that. Seeing everybody's team except for yours, Dante, is now picked. So interested to see how everyone's feeling at this point.
Yeah, man, this has been an interesting draft. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Trevor Penning to the Saints.
Yeah, I don't dislike it. I don't really hate it. The Saints are known for drafting guys that need development. When they selected Teron Armstead, he wasn't a finished product, and same thing with Ryan Ramczyk. So I'm more confident that he landed there because the Saints have the tools in place and the track record to develop guys. And honestly, you know, maybe a Tyler Smith would be a guy that I would have liked them to select instead, but Penning to me is very suitable, and I think as long as you're not forcing him to start right away, I think it's okay.
All right. Well, I guess, does anyone want to talk about the Patriots drafting Cole Strange in the first round?
I didn't watch him. Full disclosure, I didn't watch him.
I really liked him, but as a third-round guy.
Yeah, this is nuts. I mean, look, Strange is solid. I think you like a lot of what you see on film from a power, versatility perspective, experienced player. Love the way that he played up to competition against Kentucky, but this is not a player that has like a crazy high athletic ceiling, right? Like, I don't think you see an elite athlete on film. He tested well, and that's phenomenal, but man, I don't know. It's
a reach.
Yeah.
You go and call it. It's a reach. And man, I've been looking at the Patriots over the last couple of years, man, and these first round picks. I mean, I know they would select that Mac Jones at 15. He just kind of fell in their lap, but I don't know, man. You trade back, you expect. I mean, they got Andrew Booth Jr. on the board. They got plenty of other players on the board still, and they go with Cole Strange. I mean, get the guy you want, but at the same time, I think there's some better interior offensive linemen that I would take before Cole Strange.
Yeah, I agree. And again, like, I like, and this is what sucks about the draft sometimes, is like, I like Cole Strange. Like, I gave him a good grade. I wrote about him in my Senior Bowl recap. Like, I wrote, a lot about him. I thought he might be on the board for the Miami Dolphins at pick 102. Like, this is a player that I liked, but pick 29 is, I mean, wild. I'm going to be interested to see if ESPN even has a highlights package for this dude. Cole Strange coming off the board there, guard center. New England definitely needs an interior guy, but Jesus Christ. All right, Patriots, enough of that crap. Chiefs coming up on the clock at pick 30. They picked Trent McDuffie. We're closing in on the final 3 picks of this draft, guys. We're running for almost 3 hours here on the BCS stream. Thanks to our listeners for sticking around. There's still a couple of you here. What do we like for the Kansas City Chiefs here at pick 30? They went corner at 21. What are their options right now?
It's got to be Karlaftis, right?
Have to be.
You'd think.
How about to say, I don't know if it has to be anybody at this point. He might take Christian Watson off the board with how FCS is going.
Dante, Jordan Schultz, our man, struck again.
It is George Karlaftis at pick 30. How about that? Anyone want to take George Karlaftis?
I think I will.
Go for it.
Dante, I don't know. First of all, let me ask you, where did you have Karlaftis ranked?
All right. I'm glad there's not that many people here to hear me say this because I'm incredibly embarrassed. He was my 4th overall player in the 2022 class, off the board at number 30. I watched his tape super early, and I gave him a really high grade, and here we are.
Well, Dante, to make you feel any better, he was my 8th overall prospect. He has a 90.9 out of 100.
That's pretty good.
Karlaftis, he played more. I was worried about him, being a scheme-specific type of guy, but he played more stand-up this year, which was really good. But I think going to Kansas City is perfect for him. He can get his hand into the dirt. It's kind of like what Kansas City wants anyway. They have a couple of bigger edges, too. Like Mike Dennis, a pretty well-built edge. Karlaftis, I think, good first step. I don't think he doesn't really challenge the outside to me with speed. He's more of a power rush guy. He'll be able to set up, get good placement on tackles, be able to lift them up from underneath and get them off their base. I think he needs to develop a couple more rush moves, but overall, man, I like his football acumen. I think he's really good against the run. He can penetrate gaps as good as anyone in this class. And I think, if as far as edge rushers go on the board, I mean, Ojaba probably would have made more sense for Kansas City given the upside. That's what I expected him to go with, but Karlaftis is perfect for them. I think he immediately starts across from Frank Clark, and I think he has the potential to be much better than Frank Clark.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I really loved George Karlaftis, man. I just think you get a player with really, really polished technique, really good hands. He's got a ton of power. I think he showed you speed. I think he gives you a little bit of versatility. I think he can kick inside on pass rush downs and play as a hybrid 3-tech. I think he can play with his hand in the dirt. I think you can stand him up and trust him to set the edge against the run. I'm really high on him. He's my edge 2 in this class, 4th overall player in this class. So obviously, I love this pick. I think the Chiefs, even if you're lower on Karlaftis than I am, I think they had a really good night.
Yeah, you get McDuffie a corner that I know a lot of people kind of put in arm length, but he's a really good zone and man corner. One of the best corners in this class at 21. You get another defensive player that can come in and contribute right away with Karlaftis. And I ended up with him being my edge 4 and number 18. So, he's still first round value, and I think he went to a good spot in Kansas City.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I think that's going to be really, really solid. Again, pairing him with Frank Clark. I like what the Chiefs did tonight. Like I said, they're really trying to, I don't know, I guess almost change the identity of that team, it feels like, right? You're trading a player like Tyreek Hill. You invest in 2 defenders here in the first round. Really going to be interesting to see what that team looks like when it's all said and done. So I guess that takes us to the Cincinnati Bengals here at pick 31. What do we think they do? They're a popular offensive line team. Most of those guys off the board. We got some secondary players still sticking around. Where do you guys think they go at pick 31?
This could be Booth. If they don't trade back.
It should be Booth.
It should be Booth. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
Hold on. NFL Network's about to announce the strange pick. I got to listen to this.
Yeah, I think half the crowd might not even know who it is.
Half. I would wager 85 to 90% of them have no idea who Cole Strange is. I'm waiting for the Jim Nagy tweet for Cole Strange going in the first round, lauding the Patriots for selecting a future Hall of Famer at guard. All right, these Patriots fans are just clapping. They have no idea who this dude is, though.
Yeah, no clue.
They have no idea, but they're on TV, so they're celebrating. Cole Strange just got announced.
Where did y'all have Cole Strange ranked in your top 100? If you don't mind me asking.
Let's see. I had him as my 80th overall player with a solid 3rd round grade.
Yeah, he was my 74th.
All right, so we're in the same ballpark there. I liked him, right? Like, good football player, but you're taking him at 29. I mean, that's a huge reach. Oh, okay. 31st pick is in per Jordan Schultz, and I think it's a good one. Daxton Hill will be the 31st overall.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my my other suggestion, that they go either Dax Hill or Andrew Booth Jr. So smart pick. Pair him up with Jesse Bates. I think that's a really, really good safety room with those two. Maybe you move him around a little bit. He might end up playing corner because, Eli Apple just hits a net. So we'll see what they do with him. You can do a lot of different things with him. I think he, when you say versatile guys, I think he definitely fits that mold. Played some nickel at Michigan, played safety, played a little man coverage as well against tight ends. I know he was in your conference, Dante, so you could probably speak more to him more than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Dax Hill in the summer. I gave him a 1st round grade in the summer. I watched him again. I gave him a super high 2nd round grade. I just think you're getting a player who has, like you said, Devin, the versatility to play at every spot in the defense. I think that you get a player who can be a starting slot corner for you. He can be a starting safety in a 2-high shell. He can play single high in certain packages. I think pairing him with Jesse Bates is just a phenomenal safety duo in the back end for the Bengals. That pick came in really quickly. I have to think that they ran that card to the table.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Dax Hill is an absolute steal here for the Bengals at 31. I loved his film. 2 of my favorite players from the Big Ten coming off the clock there in back-to-back picks. I like that. I like what the Bengals are doing. I really do. I think that they are doing a good job. But I want to move on to the last pick of the first round. Minnesota Vikings traded back. Only one quarterback has come off the board. This is their last chance to get a 5th-year option. Does it happen?
Man, Forno might actually explode if this happens.
He might.
I don't think it's gonna happen though. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna take Booth. in my opinion, because that's been a need. Stingley didn't fall to 12. It's been a popular mock there. They were actually I believe earlier in the process, a lot of people were mocking Booth to the Vikings at 12. So maybe it comes full circle here.
Yeah, I can't decide if I want them to take Malik Willis or not. I can't decide which outcome is funnier for us. I think from an analysis standpoint, I think taking Malik Willis would be a mistake. I just don't. If you're the Vikings, I mean, you traded back 20 picks. Just take a good football player and get out of here. I really don't know why you're investing in Malik Willis right now.
Well,
I mean, you should have just stood at 12 if you liked them.
Well, they have 30. They have 34 tomorrow. They could easily take him at 34 tomorrow.
They could take him at 34 tomorrow. And again, as we mentioned earlier on stream, if Malik Willis is not the pick here, or if another quarterback is not the pick here, we've heard some steam around them potentially selecting Sam Howell out of North Carolina in recent days. If a quarterback is not selected here, it'll be the first time since 2013 we've had one quarterback go in the first round. That was the EJ Manuel year. So that is the last time. It's been almost 10 years since more than just one quarterback has gone in the first round. The Vikings have the opportunity to change that here at pick 32. If they don't go quarterback, where do you think they go, guys?
Corner or safety. Maybe they go Lewis Seen here. You know, he's gotten some first round buzz over the last couple of weeks. For whatever reason, the Vikings decided to trade out. Could have gotten Kyle Hamilton at 12. So I think safety or corner could be the pick here for the Vikings. Or maybe they like the linebacker class and snagging a Kobe Dean. But I think safety or corner is a pick here.
I agree. I mean, I think if you're looking at the board, right, I mean, like Andrew Booth, Lewis Seen, probably BPA guys. And, you know, I think for Booth specifically, that's a position that the Vikings typically value at corner. I know they had a regime change, but they still need corners. They don't have any somehow. I mean, Jeff Gladney got into trouble and he's off the team. So they still need a corner. Still waiting on them to announce that Bengals pick, but we are coming up on a very, very interesting selection here from Minnesota, which will end the NFL draft's first round here in 2022. 3.5 hours of stream for us here on BCS. Has been 9 trades, 2 very good wide receivers traded for first round picks out of nowhere. 1 Cole Strange drafted in the first round. It has been a very, very interesting evening. Yeah, we're just waiting on that final pick to come through. We're going to be at it again for another probably 3 hours tomorrow night. I hope you will join us if you stuck around this long. Again, that'll be me, Nick Price, Mike Hernician will join us tomorrow, as well as Andrew Harbaugh. We'll be breaking down every single pick of day 2.
Speaking of Mike, are y'all seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah, he's going to pop in after the stream is over, he told us. So he's hanging out with us here backstage, just, you know, vibing, having a good time. Big shout out to Mike. He watches a ton of players. He's going to be hanging out with us tomorrow night as we wait for the Vikings to either kill our best friend or possibly float him to heaven. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be one. It's going to be one or the two. I told him I was manifesting Desmond Ridder just to mess with him. My God! That would be so funny. I take it back. That's the funniest outcome. That is the funniest outcome.
What about future first round pick Cole Kelly?
Oh God.
Oh man. Oh God. Where's that guy who said Emory Jones was going to be a first round pick? Where's Draft Santa? Where's he at?
Oh,
where you at, dude? Yeah.
Oh, hey, Devin. How's that Clump guy doing right now?
He's floating.
He's probably floating. He's probably floating.
Honest to God, he's probably doing more than floating, if we're being honest here.
Oh
no. Oh no.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
I thought the pick was in.
No. I'm refreshing because this is. I really want.
I was about to say. Oh boy. I don't have anything, but I thought you were about to say.
Okay. It is in. It is safety Lewis Seen from Georgia.
Okay.
Malik Willis is not the pick. For the first time since 2013, just one quarterback goes in the first round of the NFL draft. Who wants to break down Lewis Cine going to the Vikings?
I'll take. He's my 11th ranked player on my big board. I think he's really, really good. I like what he brings from a deep half, deep thirds perspective and coverage. Clearly can come downhill and knock some dudes out, but to me, it just made sense for them to go Cine or Booth here because they traded back when they could have had their pick of the litter at corner or safety, especially with Hamilton on the board too. So I'm very, very surprised how it shook out, but I think it's a really, really good pick for the Vikings. It may not be a popular one. They want a receiver, maybe they wanted a Derek Stingley maybe, but I think with Cine, you're going to get a really good football player that's gonna really help that back end of the defense and give them one of their more dynamic safeties they had in quite some time. I know they had Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris, but it's safe to say Cine is more athletic than both of those guys.
Yeah, I agree. And an interesting part of this discussion is 3 safeties in the first round. Safety, typically a position that doesn't get the value that maybe we think it should, or, other teams really don't value it as much. But we see 3 safeties go in the first round. Lewis Cine going here at pick 32 to the Minnesota Vikings. Guys, that wraps up the first round of the NFL draft. I want to do just a quick little recap, ask you guys a couple of questions, then we're going to get out of here because I'm sure we're all tired and some of us have to do this again tomorrow. Let's start with an easy one. You don't have to give a big explanation. Favorite haul of the first round. It can be 1 player. It can be 2 players. Who do you guys really like? Who do you think knocked it out of the ballpark?
New York teams.
Browning.
Jets and Giants.
Of course.
I agree.
I'm gonna go the other New York team. I think the Jets knocked it out of the park.
Devin.
Both, sure. But no, I think for the Jets, you not only get a starting receiver, you get a starting corner, you also get a starting defensive end, all in the first round. And Jermaine Johnson was someone that a lot of people are high on and thought might go in the top 10, maybe even number 4 overall. You get him at 25. I mean, the value for each pick, I feel like, was there for the Jets. They didn't have to reach. I mean, maybe you saw Sauce's reach a little bit, but with Stingley going off the board at 3, corner probably could have came off the board at 5 or 7 before you pick again. So I think the value was there for the Jets. They got 3 immediate contributors, 3 players that are in a lot of people's top 25 in terms of their big board. So I think they had the best haul of the night.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Knicks Ravens. They
say.
got 2 players on my top 5 in my big board. That's absolutely incredible. I love their haul.
I mean, contrary to what Baltimore Ravens fans seem to think about, us trading Hollywood away to get Tyler Linderbaum, I think it's a fair deal. Granted, Hollywood was ascending; he was tracking in the right direction. He's one of Lamar's favorite targets, and Lamar definitely seems pissed about it. But at the end of the day, I mean, he gets excellent protection at the center of that line, and then Kyle Hamilton. I mean, running 3 safety sets with him, Chuck Clark, and Marcus Williams is going to be fun, real fun. So I'm happy with it. And also, I'd say the New York teams had a great haul.
Yeah, I got to give bravo to the Ravens, man. They did a really good job. I think, obviously it's not going to be popular pick, but they get two really high ceiling players that 3-4 years down the road, I think people will forget. 1, where they were taken, and 2, that they were ever mad about taking them in the first place.
Yeah, I feel like we'd be remiss, too, if we didn't mention the Philadelphia Eagles getting Jordan Davis and A.J. Brown as well. I mean, I know technically Brown not a part of a draft haul, but, I mean, you get a unicorn on the defensive line and you get a bona fide wide receiver 1 at pick 18. I think that's about as good as you can ask for if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. So some East Coast teams had some really good nights. It seems like we're really, really happy with some of the picks they made. Let's flip it around. Who maybe had a not so great night in your opinion?
The Patriots, 100%. Yeah. Look, I know they have a method to their madness, but You just can't take Cole Strange in the first round, man. And you know what? He probably will turn out to be a really good pro, but compared to what was on the board, what they need still, I just don't agree with that pick at all.
Anyone else besides the Patriots you guys think, man, I don't know, weird draft? Browning?
Yeah, the fucking Cowboys.
Oh,
What about the Commanders? They traded out 11. Look, this is personal feelings aside from Jahan Dotson. I just don't think he's going to be. I don't see the same ceiling I see with a Burks or some of these other receivers that went in the first round. I think Dotson for me ended up being like around, I think it's like 51 or 52 on my board, so like a second round grade. And it's not a massive reach, but certainly is a reach in the fact that he's not going to be a receiver one on that team. He's going to be a receiver two. Obviously, Terry McLaurin is there, but I just don't see the same upside as a Treylon Burks or some of these other wide receivers.
It's not the same upside, but him and Terry are going to be a fun pairing.
Definitely.
For sure.
yeah, for sure. All right, well, unless anyone else has anything else to add, we just witnessed a first round with one quarterback off the board, 9 trades, including 2 very solid wide receivers getting dealt. The Jets made 3 first-round picks. The Giants got top 5 players at 5 and 7. First 5 players off the board were defensive players. We saw 6 receivers go in the first 16 picks, 6 receivers go in the first 18 picks after the Titans took Treylon Burks. Anyone else have anything to add before we get out of here on what has been a really interesting night one? It started out a little slow, but it picked up very quickly.
Hey, while we're giving the Giants props, the Ravens, I mean, man, they got 2 top 5 players on my board and probably top 10 everywhere else at 14 and 24 or 25. I mean, that's incredible.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I feel easy about it, I mean, the Lions getting their guy in Jameson Williams is fun. Hopefully he stays healthy and hopefully he becomes a, popular target for Jared Goff or whoever plays quarterback for them in the future.
The Jaguars were an interesting haul because they obviously went Trayvon Walker at 1, but then they trade back up and get a Devin Lloyd. So it kind of feels like an Arizona Cardinals situation defensively. Are they going to be able to use those guys in the correct position? Because obviously the Cardinals took like Simmons and Zaven Collins in back-to-back years and didn't really use them correctly. So for me, I just wonder what the Jaguars' plan is going to be for Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd, because I think though they're 2 very unique and versatile players, but can you get the most out of them immediately? That's my only question.
Yeah, I totally agree there. All right, so the draft just wrapped up officially on ESPN, so I think we're going to call it a night here at Blue Chip Scouting.
Does our friend from the Great Wide North have anything to say?
I don't think he wants to join after the draft. He doesn't want to talk tonight. I think he told me. So
Okay.
we'll hop out and we'll give him a chance to talk. They're wrapping up. So tomorrow night we are going to be on at 7:00 Eastern sharp. We'll push it out on Twitter as well. I want to thank the people that stuck with us for almost 4 hours. We really, really appreciate you. It was really, really awesome. We had some incredibly fun reactions. The Cole Strange one, definitely towards the top of the list. Browning's reaction to Tyler Smith was really fun as well, and at his expense, unfortunately. We got some good jabs in there. Tomorrow night, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock at pick 33. 34 will be Minnesota again, so maybe Fortis gets his wish there, and that's Malik Willis. And then 35, Tennessee, another team that traded out of the first round. So we'll be back again, 7:00 sharp. Thank you so much for sticking with us. It's been an awesome night. I am your host, Dante Collinelli, signing off for Nick Price, Tyler Browning, and Devin Jackson. We will see you guys tomorrow.